inters they've got, so you might as well use a set of intermediates now.
In fact,
to see how wet the track is.
Started earlier than expected.
But the answer is not very wet at all. So it's certainly going to dry out in the time we've got between
going to start
now
their
and
practice
start
lap.
of the Grand Prix. As for the Grand Prix, the most physically demanding
as you see,
race
those are the
of the
two
year,
McLarens. One
especially
of
if
them
the
is
car
Oscar,
a
the other one
handful.
is
62 laps. The most sensible strategy, dry strategy, unless it rains again, is to start on the medium tyre, go to between laps 26 and 32, put the hard tyre on, and then go to the end. Even with a quicker pit lane speed limit for this year, it is still a one-stop strategy. If the tyres start to degrade like crazy, you could point to a 2, especially if there's a safety car. You'll only lose 11 seconds of race time in a safety car, as opposed to 22 seconds of race time lost if you pit under normal conditions. But David Croft, what are you seeing from the commentary box? It looks pretty dry to me on the start-finish line. How is it around the rest of the track?
Yeah, I think it is very dry where you are, Ted, but around other parts of the racetrack, Raffles Boulevard being one of them, there is a bit of spray coming up, and it's not completely dry, and it's certainly wet on the curbs. They're going to take a lot longer to dry. Don't forget Sergio Perez, when he won here in 2022.
Hadjar and Alonso are both boxing.
To put dry tyres
both
on. That was
are
over an hour
pitting.
into the race. Trouble is here, as Jamie Chadwick alluded to a few moments ago, there's no sun searing down to bake the track, and because we're close to the equator, there's a lot of humidity as well, 73% humidity at the moment. So it's not as wet as it was in 2022, and certainly not in 2017, but there are still wet patches. Give it a few laps.
So Norris is out, so Piastri is boxing.
Forming or not. George Russell started from the pit lane back in 2022. Today, of course, he's on pole position, just like he was in Canada, and just like it happened in Canada, this man, Max Verstappen, you can see the spray there coming up, was alongside him on the front row. That was George's only previous pole this season. He's never finished on the podium here. Max Verstappen has never won the race here. It's 3rd and 5th for Oscar Piastri and for Lando Norris. Neither McLaren driver has ever finished lower in Singapore than their starting position. Lando, of course, winning from pole last year, and a track where the last 3 pole sitters have led every single lap.
So it seems as if Russell's tyres are good.
You remember that big rain in Singapore? Well, just like today. Oh, hang on.
Just feedback your thoughts on the tyres. Keep me thinking too wet or slick tyres.
Yeah, pal.
And Max Verstappen just proving that at turn 13, going a little bit wide on the exit there. And you can see there are parts of the track where there is a lot of spray. There was a lot more spray in 2017. Max was second on the grid that
Piastri
day.
is out. Piastri is out.
Started 3rd. And a driver
quite
called
nice.
Kimi, like today, started 4th with his teammate on pole. And you remember, Simon Lazenby, all hell broke loose when the lights went out. Is that an omen? Watch out for the start, eh?
Okay, so start the bat.
Watch out indeed. That was the seminal shot of that year. Remember it like it was yesterday. But as the guys were saying, out there at the moment, it isn't dry enough for slicks. We shall see, though, because we've got about 36 minutes to go until lights out, and I should imagine with a few laps, it will clear very quickly. Let's have a look at Carlos Sainz. As we're saying, he will be starting from the back row of the grid, but yeah, it's clearly slippy. You can see that from out there at the moment, and as Crofty was pointing out, you do get very damp patches around here, and the track doesn't dry evenly throughout. We'll take a short break. When we come back, more live on the grid, and we'll be getting ready for Martin's grid walk.
So it seems as if you don't get that much from watching it online for some reason. That's kind of bullshit, really.
Audi sponsors Formula One on Sky Sports.
Home is big smiles and long hugs, shoes piled up outside. It's laughter and songs from movies. The pink bag barely fits the boot. The small ones are in the cupboard. It's same but different. Chapati, roti, paratha, or puri. It's fluffing up, everybody come and see. When it's made from mum's hands, it's forever the best. And an elephant never forgets. Home is where the elephant atta is.
You know what I love? I love elephant atta. But apart from that, seems as if everything's fine on it so far. That
Pick up your free 300-page toy catalogue in store or sign up online.
okay, so show them about the timings are not.
The people
Okay,
we
timings are not
love
live.
spreading gems. Then they bring them home on their clothes. Regular detergents leave germs behind. Add Dettol laundry sanitizer to kill them. Even on
So
cold
Norris
wash,
is trying to
better
communicate with the pit
spread the
bull,
love,
but the
not the
pit bull ain't
germs.
doing nothing.
Ooh, look at this. Another top-rated product on Amazon. It's a pair of
So,
Bose Quiet Comfort headphones with legendary noise
Yeah,
cancellation.
maybe that bad now.
And there you go, straight in her basket. Soon she'll be able to enjoy the peaceful serenity of pure, unadulterated thrash metal. Amazon. Great brands, prices you'll love.
Lily loves discovering all the fun things on the Little People Farm by Fisher-Price. Her brother Dylan loves hugging the chicken. For giant imaginations and tiny chicken lovers, it's a Little People world. Come on in.
Succulent massaman curry, made with juicy corn pieces that have no artificial ingredients.
No artificial ingredients? Is that why we make it?
That's right, because we have nothing to hide. Just like this
Actually,
high-protein
Norris.
corn mince, used in spicy burritos. Corn mince and
So
pieces,
they're extremely
high
far away,
in
split up by
protein,
two
with
gap
nothing to
positions.
hide.
One
Corn
on
that's so
P3, one in
tasty, why choose the
P5.
alternative?
That actually ain't that bad. With the head
I've had my bike a moment. Plus, it's free to sell on eBay and I got a really good price.
When it's this easy to sell for free, you can't help but
Let's
say
see the
rinse
head-to-head, because basically what they need to do, especially for this practice, is that they would need to at least have like a nice close interval. I thought this have to be like at least one position behind, so Norris has to catch up towards P4 and then climb up from
It was
there.
thanks to my great-granddad and his fellow volunteers that there was a city to wake up to.
Discover the untold stories of World War II in millions of records and bring your backstory to life.
Sectors, sector ain't that bad. Okay, so Norris.
There is more to Argos. He's changed his tune.
Music to my ears.
Double in, double out. This will be absolute drama-ridden.
The darts we love, double.
Wow, we're in for something here.
Double the vibe.
It's involving car 20 Albert, no in phase, follow rest direct instruction, practice start infringement. So basically now
the hype.
Albert is gonna be fucked over by the stewards.
Travel the world, doing the research you should have done
Based on
before
practice
the
start
trip.
infringement.
I'm
So
not gonna lie, feels unusual.
This is Can't Knock the Hustle.
yep, so we are cooked. And we are back onto the live.
Welcome back. About half an hour to go until lights out. Melanie C on the decks for us this evening.
I don't think she should be. This woman should not be on the fucking deck.
Let's remind you.
Early drama under the lights here at Marina Bay for Oscar Piastri, the championship leader, who had to abandon his first flying lap after a car went into the runoff area at the first chicane and the yellow flags came out as a
It was
result.
kind of bullshit on that shit, you know,
man, come
when
on.
they
You
came.
can't give a yellow flag for someone getting out of the way.
Yeah, it was kind of
Max
bullshit.
Verstappen
Like,
carried his final
I wouldn't say
practice
British
form into
bias
qualifying,
because
setting
there is
the
British
early
bias, but
benchmark
this ain't really
before
British
Isaac
bias. It's just
Hadjar stunned
stupidity
the
in
field
general.
by going fastest
Because
on the
Piastri was gonna go
There was
for his,
another twist
and
just
then the
before
pit
the
exit
checkered
is
flag at the
closed
end of
now.
Q1,
Pit exit
as
is
Pierre
closed.
Gasly had an oil issue with
So
his
now
Alpine
we have
car,
to
and
just
that
wait
forced
for
him
the
to
official
stop
race
on
to
track,
start
triggering another yellow
at
flag
1
and
o'clock.
forcing several drivers still on flying laps to back off or risk a penalty. George Russell slipped in a late flyer, pipping Hamilton to second on the timesheets, and was this a sign of things to come for the Mercedes driver? Out though in Q1, Gabriel Bortoletto, Lance Stroll, Franco Colapinto,
So
Esteban
yeah,
Ocon, and
Alex
Pierre
Albon is
Gasly.
gonna
With a small delay
no
to the start of Q2 after the marshals recovered Gasly's car, the four-time world champion
so
Max
I think
Verstappen
he
was soon
somehow
out
managed to
and
fuck
soon
up
going
the
purple
race
in all
start,
sectors,
which
with Isaac Hadjar's
basically
racing
is
ball
kind of
just
like
4
at the
tenths
end
off
of the
Verstappen's
practice
marker. Meanwhile,
session,
Kimi Antonelli
do
was
like
under
a
pressure
practice
to deliver
start just so
and
that
pulled a
he
lap
can get
out of the bag to go
they know
fastest
what
with a
to do.
1:29.6 before teammate Russell edged ahead. As the final laps
And
came in, it
everyone
was edge of your
should
seat
be
time for Charles Leclerc, who kissed the wall with his left tyre on a push lap, leaving his Ferrari in the elimination zone.
So
But he
now
managed
everyone
to
is
pull it
getting
out of
over
the bag
towards the
and
practice
go
start,
P6.
getting Hulkenberg in
It
there.
wasn't long, though,
Well,
before the
Gasly
Flying
and
Dutchman
Alex
split
Albon
the
are
two
both
silver arrows with a
in
time
the
of
pit box.
1:29.572. George Russell, Max Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli were the top 3 drivers in Q2, but knocked out by just 6/100ths of a second. Nico Hulkenberg, Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz, Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda. It was all to play for then, with both Mercedes drivers heading out early. Lando Norris put in his first flying lap, but it wasn't enough to match the relentless pace of Russell, who pushed so hard he touched the wall. Max Verstappen slotted into P2 and Oscar Piastri close behind. On his second flying lap, Russell shaved more time, setting a stunning 1:29.158, a new track record and cementing his hold on pole. Verstappen, desperate to claim his first Singapore pole, threw everything at it, but ultimately had to back off, remaining second and lining up on the front row.
Yeah, I cannot
for the 4th
access
time.
the tyre usage history for
But
some
was
reason.
Verstappen put off by his championship rival Lando Norris? Norris on an in-lap
kind of
was
bullshit,
ahead of the
really,
Dutchman,
because
who was still on a flying lap, and the 4-time world
Neither
champion
for this
thought that the McLaren
segment or the
driver had cost him
sectors.
valuable tenths of a second.
Yeah, you can thank your mate for that. Hard luck, PT.
That's noted, will be remembered as well.
So it's Russell on pole and Verstappen alongside him on the front row. Oscar Piastri could only manage P3, but he did out-qualify his teammate Lando Norris down in P5. Kimi Antonelli splitting the two McLarens. It's a front row lineup you don't want to miss under the lights here in Singapore.
You are not wrong, Crofty. As I said, box office that. George Russell and Max Verstappen on the front row of the grid. Then in behind, the championship leader, Oscar Piastri, furthest forward. He started at Marina Bay. His teammate tucked in behind him, Lewis Hamilton, in 6th. That's the first time here in Singapore he started outside the top 5, ahead of his teammate and alongside Isaac
So I
Hadjar,
can
who
access
was
it
really
via
disappointed,
this,
that he didn't
but I
finish
cannot
further
access
up,
it
but
via
nonetheless
this.
inside the top 10 again is Ollie Behrman and Fernando Alonso. Further down, as we've mentioned,
Can we
Carlos
access
Sainz
the,
and Alex
timing
Albon
now?
disqualified from qualifying. Sainz starts from 18th, 2 from the pit lane in the form of Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon.
Yeah,
himself. A quick
for
one
some
on the
fucking reason I can't
Ferraris.
access it. I think there's something blocking it.
What if we had another one of those weekends for them?
I would love to put a finger on it. It seems like it's so hard
Maybe
to
just
put a lap
disabled
together.
by,
It's checked everything. They have bits of performance here and there. Every now and then it comes together. Often we see it in practice. But in qualifying when it matters,
Yeah, there's
putting
something
the lap
blocking
together seems so
it.
difficult for both drivers. So
I can't do
I
it
think they
on
need to get
block
on top of that.
and
They've really
guard.
got some inherent issues with performance. But today could be a whole reset because the conditions are completely different.
Yeah, I mean, they're only 1.5 tenths off the lead McLaren, which normally you'd say is pretty good. It's just that Mercedes are looking really strong. So they're not far off. It's just a tiny bit they need to find, which is not easy in the sport at the moment.
Okay, right. The grid is filling up, so too the grandstands. Let's head to Martin for his grid walk. All yours, Martin.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's quite dry on the grid, actually. I think I'm going to be as welcome as a toothache on a wet Monday morning trying to talk to people because there must be a lot of discussion going on.
Right, this
Will we
can be
start on
driver
slicks or will we
tracking.
start on the intermediate tyres, judging
Nope,
by what
I
we heard
cannot
from
do driver
drivers
tracking.
out on the track. But I've had the track temperature measured. It's 31C, literally.
It's
here,
bullshit, I know.
Which is the same as it was in free practice 2. And so there's quite a lot of residual heat in the track. I don't think it's going to take as long to dry as we normally see, but we'll see what Ollie found out there. He's putting his cool jacket on. Ollie, how is it out there? We heard a lot of drivers saying it's wet and slippery.
Yeah, it's strange. Sector 1 was fully dry, and then you get to the low speed Sector 2, and still a bit of water standing on there.
But it's slick start, is it? It must be slick, surely.
Yeah, it depends if you've got what it takes. I think the Inter will be faster for one lap at this point, and then there's still another half an hour till the race starts. So
yeah, a bit of tiptoeing then. Have a great race. So that's do you see there? That is it's the first time he's been here, and I think he's done a super job this weekend. Same with Isaac Hadjar as well, to learn this track. So, as I say, it looks absolutely bone dry down here. You're getting knocked about there, Lee. Yeah, Lee's a former Marine, so I would advise they don't do that too frequently. Yeah, so we've got a, it's an absolute no-brainer that you would start on slick tyres here, but obviously different to what we've heard out on the racetrack. So, yeah, now we are amongst the McLarens.
Yeah, I am not going to show you guys my fucking shit.
The Ferraris. Ferraris had a slightly difficult weekend, but this so far, but this could be an opportunity for them with these changeable conditions.
What do you mean?
Fred Vasseur is up for a chat. It's normally a no while we're here. We've got a minute or two. I think we can I have a chat with Fred tonight, Sylvia. Fred, he's doing pictures and photographs now. I'll do. Oh, he's got a bit of a loving. Fred, all good? All good?
I think.
I've just
I
been
didn't try to find a dude named Fred now.
Yeah. He's not that nice, honestly. He's not. Fred, how are you, my friend? You okay?
Fine so far.
Yeah. So tricky conditions. Tricky conditions tonight.
Yeah, because that you have sector 2 quite wet and sector 1 and 3 more on the dry side.
Finally!
Choice, but for sure it won't
Finally, I had to log in and log out.
What comes into my mind is opportunity for you.
Yes, probably that if I was in pole position, I would have preferred standard conditions with slicks. Let's see.
But to be honest, though, for you get into pole position, ain't a thing that's ever going to happen.
Where are we? Let's head down towards the front a little bit. See if we can find somebody at McLaren. As ever, there's as many people on the grid as there are in the grandstands. There's plenty of people in the grandstands. Look, they look fantastic.
Yeah.
What a
Gazzy and Albert
an
pitted. I think they're going to do repairs on the car before the race eventually starts.
They can almost see the drivers releasing the clutch paddles on the line. Here's Kimi Antonelli. He's done super well. Doesn't that car look glorious? In fact, pretty much any Formula 1 colour scheme looks incredible under these lights. And you can just see how bright it is, and the lights are so effective. There are no.
So they're basically going to investigate Albon fucking up the practice start.
At night races. So
can't fucking bullshit, really.
See around, I can see Zach Brown over there. Most of the drivers have gone off. We know they go and put their headphones on, talk to the factory, talk to all the technical people, the engineers. Let's see if we can wibble our way through here, technical term there.
Let's go.
And get a word with
Whoa, there go, gully.
Look at this budget here. He's got his own microphone for the grid walk.
There we are.
Jealous, that is. So
hopefully you can
we don't
hear
get
me
him soon. We'll carry on and have a little wander around, see if we can find another driver as well, or two. We'll find those at the front. But let's just have a look at the McLaren while we're at it. You can see them cooling the brakes,
over there,
warming the engine for oil and water. It's a real task here. Zach, sorry, I don't have a spare microphone, so we'll have to paddle this one.
We're doing it the fashion way.
Yeah. How are you? Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, I mean, George put in not only one good lap, but 2 good laps, so they seem to be very quick. Max, of course, is always there or thereabouts, but I think we've got good race pace. We'll see what happens at the start, but I'm optimistic.
So Ferrari let their car out in the pit lane and smashed your front wing up. Did they owe you 200 grand for that or something?
Yeah, I'm going to send Fred a bill or swap him for his Richard Mille watch or something.
I think their no claims discount's already gone. Have a great night. And, well, of course, we have to talk about the Constructors' Championship. You could be 90 minutes away from that.
I hope so. That's goal number 1, and hopefully we get 2 cars on the podium.
Good stuff. Have a good one. Right. Oh, my goodness me. We're getting knocked over by a TV crews here. Let's down. Right, let's go down the right-hand side, because that side, I'm over here, Lee. That side looks just too crazy. Hopefully we can get
what's going on
down here. That's okay. We've got like a golden sticker to get us under this rope.
So they do practice start, they simply just gonna prep up for the upcoming race.
See what a little bit of plastic can do. And we'll wander down and see if we can find a driver.
Just a random old guy just zoomed into.
Jack Whitehall here. How are you? You go to more races than I do. You okay?
I know. You can't get rid of me now.
What brings you to this one? I know you've become a massive fan since F175 at the O2.
Yeah, and this is my first ever night race, first ever time to Singapore. So
Jack
yeah,
Whitehall.
it's amazing.
Totally know what the fuck a
like,
Jack Whitehall
such a
is of all
so
people.
hot as well. I kind of want to get one of those cooling vests as a spectator.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? You know, it's the same at Le Mans and other races at night. Cars somehow look 10, 20% faster at night, and I don't really know why, but they always sound better and look better.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing one, and I'm really excited and hoping.
90 minutes
I want
until
a great
the
race, but I would really
shit
like
start.
to see George as well win this one. I'm excited that he's on pole and
maybe
Team George, good luck. Cheers. Right, we're going to wander over here and see if we can hoover up a Will Smith
the Corbett one,
and who's
Corbett,
we got Esther I don't think I'm allowed. I don't think I'm allowed to. I don't think I'm allowed to go there. He's going to tell me he's already spoken to. So he's starting from the pit lane.
Desktop.
Pit lane start then, Alex. So you can just look at all the carbon fiber confetti as you come out of the pit lane.
Yeah. We'll see. It feels like a bit drier here in Sector 1 than it does in Sector 2 and 3. But it surely, I'm hoping, creates a bit of carnage. But listen.
Yeah. And is it tiptoe on slicks, or you can't risk?
Okay, so everyone's on the practice.
Sector 1 is slicks, and then Sector 2 and 3 are wets. And then it's just about how much you want to risk. Obviously, risking
Carlos says is 18,
but it is actually really wet.
But he's probably going to be. He's going to
The
start
middle of Sector 2 is really
in
wet,
the
every lap
pit
is
box
right out.
area, pit exit area, and then he's going to join
my
last.
stomach. I'm nervous and I'm not even driving it. That's so
Which is
challenging.
going to suck
on
because
the
he has
white
a massive
lines and
disadvantage
everything.
compared
You can do
to
it.
being on the grid itself, because there'll be no passing
Right.
potential
Okey-dokey.
until
We've got,
later within the race itself.
We've got David
And that'll be for sure.
over here. He's Superman. And so I'm going to come to you in a minute. Liam, how's it going? You've had an up and down weekend, but you're still there on the grid nicely.
Yeah, should have been better. Obviously, not good enough from my side in practice. It's put us on the back foot. But let's see with the conditions today. Hopefully, we can move forward.
All right, have a good race. Cheers. And quick chat with Yuki. How's it going? Car feeling better? You look like you're more happy in the car these days.
Yeah, I mean, these days was okay.
Yuki does not look happy.
A bit disappointed yesterday with a short run, but long run, definitely some steps has made already in Azerbaijan, so looking forward to it.
Good luck. Right, now let's try and chat with David Cornsweat over here.
But they just fighting everyone.
Is, Superman. If we can...
Honestly, he does not give a...
Martin Brundle, Sky F1. Quick word with you, Superman. We've got a few Supermen on the grid ourselves. Your first Grand Prix?
I can't hear a word you're saying.
Me neither, but good to see you on the grid anyway.
How shit is this interview? Bro, the fucking Sky Sports commentators cannot do their job.
We're rooting for him in the qualifier. It's gonna be an exciting race.
They're just going up to everyone and going like, hello, this fat bastard, hello.
Sorry, you're his brother. Well, sorry. He said he's got a cap on. Right, and how are you? How are you both?
Very nice to meet you. Big fan.
Yeah, well, good to see you too. Good to see both of you. But who are you here supporting?
Well, he's here supporting McLaren, so I feel like I'm in his.
Who's Capaldi? Yeah, I totally know who Capaldi is.
So are you the driver and he's the musician? I'm just a guy that's here, that's all. All right.
We've got the Hollister shirt.
Lovely to see you on the grid. Thank you. Time for the anthem.
Oh, hell no! Oh, hell no! Oh, hell no! Bro, we have to acknowledge that fucking handshake that the commentator did not give him, bro. What in the Christmas? Bro, this ain't even F1 anymore. It's just a fucking Christmas celebration. National anthem of Singapore. This is not the national anthem of Singapore, when it's literally just a fucking Christmas chant. Motherfucking Christmas over here. It's literally Christmas on the track. Merry fucking Christmas, guys. Have a very good fucking year. Alonso there just barking. Why is Kimmy so shiverish? She's just cold or hot. I don't know.
What a sight this place is under the lights. There is your pole sitter, but looks like tricky conditions, and for the start of this race.
It's always a tricky one here in Singapore, always frantic. This was
but to
2
be
years
honest,
ago,
Singapore
Lewis
ain't that
Hamilton. We've
bad
had cars
because
running wide the last 2 years in a row
what is
here.
it? Especially
Lewis
with
Hamilton 2
Singapore,
years ago
it's
did this. You've got to go around the outside of the bollard there. That's the important part. If that's to happen, Lewis getting ahead of his teammate had to give that position back. But if you're George Russell today, pole position, starting alongside this man here on the screen, Max Verstappen, you know you've got to get your elbows out, because every time that Verstappen started on the front row, he always gives it everything. This is in Saudi fighting Oscar Piastri. He was awarded a 5-second penalty for that going off track. But watch Verstappen here in Imola, round the outside in one of the best moves, probably the best move of the season.
Yeah, I don't know why
totally
McLaren actually gave up that
unexpected.
position.
Give this guy
if he's still defending it, if McLaren's still defending that position in 2025,
coming out on the outside of Lando Norris,
race, he
but
could have
he
in fact like
really taken the fight to the McLarens this time. Massive snap of oversteer and gets ahead of that third position where he started.
Yeah,
Then
it
in
feels
Monza, he
a bit
was on pole
Verstappen just tries to be
position, but
aggressive
under
as
threat
possible on the
immediately
start,
from
just
Lando,
so
who
he can
pushes
get
onto the
F1.
grass momentarily, but he doesn't back out there. Once again round the outside, trying his luck, and takes avoiding action in his mind. Found it difficult to give that place back, but he had to.
It's just
and
that
this was the
McLaren
last
now
time we
is
had
the
Russell
definition of
starting
like a
alongside
jackass. He
Max
just
Verstappen in the
goes
same position
really
as those
aggressive.
today.
Like
Montreal,
even though he got like
Russell
the
went on to win
performance
that
and like
race
the
then.
trophies
He'll be
for it,
looking to do
he's too
exactly
aggressive
the
at the
same thing
start
and get the
to the
dream
point that
start
he
he had
pushes
there
everyone
in these
out,
mixed
or he pushes
conditions
everyone
today.
onto like. Or he pushes himself onto like the outside of the track itself. Basically, exceeding track limits and games have like a 5-second penalty, a 10-second penalty.
Yeah, looking at the start-finish straight here, it's clearly a slick, but out there on the track, it isn't so clear. But I guess it's going to be slick.
A little bit of commotion around George's car. Is everything all okay?
So far as I know, yeah, everything is okay. But I've just seen it now, so.
So how's Kimi's car? All okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
Good
a bit
to see it on
frantic.
telly.
That shot's at Kimi's car right now, so it looks like something's going on there, but nothing you can put your finger on or know about.
No, maybe there is refueling some brake hydraulic. I don't know.
I don't know why the fuck they actually repairing Kimi
Let's talk about the
Antonelli's
start
car.
here. You've got two cars in the fight this evening, bearing in mind if everything's okay with Kimi's car, yeah?
Yeah, it's always good to start first and foremost. Pole position has an advantage there, but I mean you have Max in P2, so I guess if you can maintain the position at the start, I think you can have a good shot at it, but it's going to be a difficult one.
Okay, we'll let you get to it. We'll carry on with these.
It seems that Mercedes could have an advantage on it, but McLaren is mostly dominant throughout this whole championship, so they could actually get like a high position. But then there's that Max Verstappen.
Yeah, I mean usually, but we've had a bit of a reset with the rain, so now it's going to be a bit different. I think
if it shows
it's going to be who gets the best launch. Also, they've not really practiced starts and whatever this condition is.
Then
although it's
could
dry,
eventually beat
it's
the
still a little
McLaren.
bit slippery. So the start itself is going to be challenging, but I think lap 1's going to be the most challenging, because if they are on slicks, which I think they will go with, then if you're leading, you don't want to get
it's
it
a
wrong.
mix of medium and slicks. Medium just so they can last that extra couple of laps while the other people are boxing. But boxing later will actually suck because
those tires. So I think most people
less
are going to
laps
go
to catch up.
slicks,
But to be honest, the main advantage is that
we understand, just hearing my ear,
more fresher tyres
on the
compared
power
to the others.
steering of Kimi's car, but noting from Ted that everything's okay now.
Exactly, but it's both cars that they were working on. This is, I think, George's car that they're putting the front wing back on, but it's both cars that they were looking at something, so hopefully that's all okay for them.
Nothing like that to put a little bit of doubt in your mind at the start of a race where it's wet, dry track at the moment.
Exactly. So no,
this is going to be dry throughout the whole day. Throughout this whole day, it's going to be a lot more drier.
Those dry tyres, it's going to be a massive advantage by lap 3, I would say.
Well, George is just
especially about like lap 3, it's going to be like a lot more dry.
Of his to keep him cool. A lot of them are wearing cooling vests, but it has dropped off in terms of temperature because of that. The ice vests. It is one of the most physical races, the most physical race of the year, and we're getting ready. The crowd's in, the grandstand's full. The Singapore Grand Prix is next. Don't go anywhere.
So we have that nice, sexy commercial break, and then right after we're just gonna go for Nothing's really started really.
Audi sponsors Formula One on Sky Sports.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Lily loves discovering all the fun things on the Little People Farm by Fisher-Price. Her brother Dylan loves hugging the chicken. For giant imaginations and tiny chicken lovers, it's a Little People world. Come on in.
It's like the end of an era, you know? But I'm ready. I've had my bike a moment. Plus, it's free to sell on eBay and I got a really good price. Goodbye, biker girl.
Bye.
Okay, next.
When it's this easy to sell for free, you can't help but say when it's eBay.
Puppy. Puppy.
In life, it's best to check before you commit to something. With Quick Check, you can check if you're eligible for a Capital One credit card without affecting your credit score.
No, everyone. No, fine. Didn't want one anyway.
And you'll always know the APR you'll get before applying. Credit with no nasty surprises. That's one good thing. Capital One.
At Money Supermarket, our mission is to help you be better off. That's why we'll give you a £15 reward when you switch your car insurance. And when you keep switching your household bills with us, we'll give you even more rewards. See how much you could save today with Money Supermarket.
Take your F1 experience to the next level and ride on board exclusively with Sky Q, Sky Stream and Sky Glass. Now TV also gives you full access to every driver's onboard feed. Jump into the cockpit of any of the 20 drivers during practice, qualifying, sprints and race sessions and tune into their team radio.
That's it, mate. Well done. Pole position. Yeah, nice job.
Hit the interactive button on your Sky remote to explore a range of thrilling onboard views from gyro cams and visor cams that put you right into the heart of the action. Plus, don't miss Sky's Battle channel, showcasing unmissable side-by-side action you won't always see in the main broadcast. Out and about, stay in the race wherever you go. Scan the QR code, download the Sky Sports app, choose your driver and experience the action live. Strap in and enjoy every twist and turn, only on Sky Sports F1.
So plenty of ways to enjoy the action this evening. Anthony Davidson will be in race control across strategy and team radio. Ted Kravitz in his usual position, lurking in the pit lane.
There we are, now
the commentary box. Here we go.
The Marina Bay Street Circuit, F1's original night race. Sparking through the bumpy city streets. But this is more than racing. For both man and machine, this is a battle to survive. 62 laps, over 300 kilometers. Against the heat. Against opponents.
There's something on the Firefox. Oh shit, I think it. Oh my god, it's literally streaming everything.
Lando reigns supreme in 2024. Lando Norris takes the checkered flag. But you cannot rest on your laurels.
Shut up.
When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound.
Wait,
of
can
silence.
I just
And
I
in
don't
the
know,
naked
like
light
it could
I
be too
saw
advanced for me if I just
10,000 people,
take the
maybe
output
more.
and just shove it somewhere.
People talking
Oh.
without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never share. No one dare disturb a sound of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was forming. And the sign said, the words of the prophets are written on subway walls and tenement halls and whispered in the sounds of silence.
This is the audio Singapore Grand Prix. Crisp audio. Oh, whoa. So it seems like as if everyone's on softs, mediums, and what? There's Alex Albon on hards, which is actually quite surprising.
So welcome everyone to Singapore, where it's always hot in the city, and tonight, in the words of Bon Jovi, it might be a bit slippery when wet too, because we had rain about an hour ago and the track is slowly drying out and the curbs still very, very slick. Welcome to round 18 of the Formula One World Championship in 2025, the 16th running of this Singapore Grand Prix, where pole position occupied by George Russell tonight as 110 of the previous 15 Grand Prix. 3 miles the distance, 19 corners, 12 to the left and 7 to the right, 62 laps to come. And what tyres will we get at the start? Well, the first sector is pretty dry. The middle sector is still a bit wet. Will you gamble and go on the soft, the C5, for a short first stint? Will you go on the medium tyre, the preferred race tyre, the C4, or will you go long for the hard, the C3? We'll find out in a few moments. Singapore all lit up this evening, 1,600 bulbs around this Marina Bay circuit. It looks absolutely splendid. And here's our grid for tonight, and only 18 cars actually on the starting grid for the lights out. We've got 2 starting from the pit lane. Pierre Gasly, who has made setup changes, and Alex Albon at Williams. Both Williams disqualified for qualifying because of a rear wing infringement, but they've been allowed to race. Carlos Sainz will start 18th, with Esteban Ocon for Haas ahead of him. 16th on the grid, Franco Colapinto out qualifying Gasly for the 3rd race in a row. Lance Stroll for the 3rd year in a row here, out in Q1. Gabriel Bortoleto for the first time in 8 races, not out qualifying his teammate Nico Hülkenberg, starts alongside Yuki Tsunoda. Hülkenberg will start 11th. He missed the top 10 by 6/100ths of a second, and Liam Lawson's 9 places down from where he started in Baku 2 weeks ago. Fernando Alonso into the top 10 for Aston Martin. It's a career best start, 9th for Ollie Behrman in the second Haas. Isaac Hadjar, another rookie here in the top 10, starts 8th, and alongside him Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton, his Ferrari teammate for the first time ever in Singapore, starts outside the top 5. In the top 5, Lando Norris for McLaren. Ahead of him, Kimi Antonelli, 4th place on the grid for consecutive races for him. Championship leader Oscar Piastri starts 3rd. Max Verstappen still hasn't got a pole here. It's another 4th front row start for him, and it's George Russell with a first ever pole here at the Marina Bay circuit. In Canada, it was Russell ahead of Max Verstappen on the front row. He got into the first corner ahead. Will he do it tonight, and what tyres, Martin, will he be on?
Well, they've all decided to tippy-toe around if it is wet in the 2nd and 3rd sectors, like they were telling me on the grid, on slick tyres, no grooves and nothing to clear the water. And George Russell starts on the medium compound, as do all of the rest of the top 7, apart from Max Verstappen. He's got softer tyres on. He might be hoping for an early safety car, get hard compound on and go to the end. This has definitely thrown a double 6 into strategy this evening. The briefings we had earlier on, Crofty, that never mentioned rain, did they, at any point? But the track has got quite a lot of residual temperature in it, although it does tend to dry quite slowly out in the middle of the city there.
Now, normally Max on the dirty side of the grid might have a slight disadvantage starting in 2nd place, but that rain has lessened the grip on the cleaner side of the grid. And to go with those soft compound tyres, I think George is really going to have to watch himself, even though it's only 177 metres into that first corner.
But there'll be brand spanking new tyres that George has got there, albeit medium.
Yeah,
so he'll be all right, I think. He'll be able to sweep in. He's old enough.
So everyone's going on to
the will be up to.
formation lap
racing, the normal racing line as such. Everybody goes down the right-hand side.
So
everybody, whichever category you're in. And you can see that they're used tyres on the Red Bull there.
Russell,
so
Verstappen,
a great chance then
Antonelli,
around the outside
Norris, Hamilton,
George Russell,
Leclerc,
Hadjar,
Alonso.
So the top 4
Russell,
have never won
Lawson,
here at Singapore,
Tsunoda,
and the last 5 runnings of the Singapore Grand Prix have produced 5 different winners. Will it be 6 out of 6? We shall find out in 60 laps time. We're off then on the formation lap behind Russell and Verstappen. Piastri Piastri and Antonelli on the second row. What is it for Oscar Piastri tonight? If he finishes ahead of Lando Norris, is that a job good enough for him, or does he need a win?
I think if Piastri finished on the gearbox of Verstappen ahead of Norris, he'd be quite happy with that, actually, this evening, from a championship perspective.
Right, on board with our pole sitter, George Russell, and whilst we watch him on the formation lap, let's head down to the pit lane. Ted Kravitz,
good evening, Crofty. Hi, Martin. Yeah, everybody from the pit lane. Right, all the strategists, all the team bosses on the pit lane, just discussing whose tyres on what. And that is a bit of a statement, isn't it, from Max Verstappen? I'm coming through, I've got the soft tyre. You better watch out. George is going to need the start of his life to fend off Max on the soft tyre. If you get in the lead, that's half the race won, even with the wet tyres now safely in their blankets. Tension is building now in the pit lane, Crofty.
There is some surface water out there. You can see it, just tiny amounts of, and sometimes that can be more slick than anything, just when you got that sort of emulsion of a bit of water on the surface. But quite clearly, slick, dry tyres are absolutely the right answer. Anthony at Sky Race Control.
So Sainz, Stroll and Piastri all had lockups into turn 13 on their lap to grid. So that's the corner to really look out for.
And that's the corner on the laps to grid before the formation lap, where a lot of drivers really were
now the
struggling.
formation lap is
they were
over.
locking up,
the official race is going to go underway.
We were just on board there with Lewis Hamilton, and he was going through turn 13 whilst we were on board with him.
Yeah. He was. He needs to make sure he stays within 10 car lengths of Lando Norris, otherwise he'll be in trouble with the regulations, but he's built himself a bit of a gap there. So Lewis wants to get on with it and get some energy into the tyres and brakes.
Drivers' Championship, Oscar Piastri is one win clear of his teammate Lando Norris. Max Verstappen on 255 points, winner of the last two races, is driving his way back into contention, even though he'd written off his chances in the mid part of the season. In the Constructors' Championship, if McLaren leaves Singapore with a lead of 303 points, they are Constructors' champions for a 10th time and for the second year in succession. All they need is one car on the podium, and if that doesn't happen, two cars in the top 7, and then it doesn't matter what Ferrari or Mercedes do. The only teams that could catch them between now and the checkered flag in Abu Dhabi. So McLaren preparing maybe to celebrate tonight, but nothing is a given here.
Well, with full tanks of fuel, Anthony was saying, unlucky for some turn 13. I think the other corners and traction zones could be a bit of a challenge until they understand just where the grip is at on this racetrack.
And those on the front row have been standing already for quite some time and waiting, and we're still not all slotting into position, despite the fact, as I said, there's only 18 cars lining up.
A lot of cars built themselves a gap to drive hard into, so I think that's extended the amount of time that the front runners are sitting on the front of the grid.
Yeah, they arrived with warmer tyres at the end. Worked for Brad Pitt in that movie, didn't it? Let's see what happens in real life. Prepare yourself, ladies and gentlemen, for racing under the lights here in Singapore. 62 laps to come. It's lights out and away we go, and that's an excellent start from George Russell, and Max Verstappen's not covering him off, and he's trying to fend off Oscar Piastri into turn 1. Verstappen ahead then of Piastri. Norris then battling away with his teammate and championship rival, and he's got the inside line.
Oh, contact.
And Norris has managed to get through, and he's made up 2 places from the start. George Russell leads here from Max Verstappen. Great start from Lando Norris. Then comes Piastri, and that looks like Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Kimi Antonelli losing places.
Yeah, great start, very aggressive from Lando Norris, and it paid off. Got his elbows out. I think it was all fair and within the regulations.
Okay, now brilliant start then for George Russell. There's Charles Leclerc ahead of Antonelli, going down the inside. Isaac Hadjar on Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin, and they're going wheel to wheel out of that corner. And you can see how tough it is to get traction there.
I think that was Joel
has to concede the place.
Isaac Hadjar
moves up. Now we're getting into the really tricky, slippery, greasy part of this circuit. And Lando Norris, I had contact, he said, keep an eye on everything. It was a slight contact, but obviously he'd have felt that in the cockpit.
Yeah, I mean, they were side by side through turns 2 and 3, and eventually Oscar had to get out of it, otherwise he was heading it towards the wall. But super aggressive. This is a world championship we're talking about.
And this is a championship where we have 7 races, including this, and 3 sprint races, but every point is precious. George Russell building up a nice lead here.
Damaged wing then for Lando Norris. You can see a piece on the top left sticking out. And
that's Piastri on the runoff area there, Martin, through that chicane at turn 16. He got that a little bit wrong, but he's managed to carry on in his way. And we'll get another look at that Lando Norris front wing in a couple of moments. We can see it there, just sticking out at an angle it shouldn't be. And that's going to be affecting his aero balance. But will he have to come in and change that front wing? Will the FIA decide it needs to happen?
Yeah, and that is what they'll be looking at.
I don't think so, though. I don't really...
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't very team-like, but sure.
Oscar less impressed.
But to be honest, though,
about those opening corners. But McLaren will be busy explaining the design of that front wing and why that piece will not come off, shouldn't come off. Or if it does, it's not a significant part.
Yuki Tsunoda and Esteban Ocon having a real tussle there. Esteban Ocon manages to get through into turn 7. We can have a look now at this race start. On board with Lando Norris. He's getting better traction ahead of his teammate. Oh, and he had contact with Max Verstappen.
Yeah,
and that
was
might
kind
be where
of
he
by like the swish wash of the car
Absolutely,
itself,
and then
like,
it was wheel-to-wheel contact with the other
so, like,
McLaren.
They were
But
have
you're absolutely right,
contact.
it was actually
the
tagging
timings
the
are
back
in.
of the
We've
Red
also
Bull
having the
that broke
best
his front
time so
wing.
far. Who have
And Isaac Hadjar and Ollie Behrman have been noted for causing a collision. Hadjar on Behrman, who's down in 10th place. Hadjar staying in 8th in these opening skirmishes. And they have been skirmishes here in Singapore. 1.7 seconds, the gap between Russell and Verstappen. That gamble by Red Bull to get Verstappen ahead of the pole sitter, it hasn't worked.
Methinks the ground rules between the two McLaren drivers has just changed for the rest of the season.
What was it Lando said to me on Wednesday? We had the interview that we played out yesterday before qualifying. Those papaya rules, we're free to race and we're becoming more free as each race goes by. Little things are changing. We're not going to shout about it, but little things are changing. Well, it looked like all was fair in love and war to me on that one. Either way, Norris ahead of Piastri now by nearly 2 seconds.
What's the go there? So are we cool with Lando just parting out of the way? Or
now he's looking really quick in this race. And
so we're looking at it. Let me get back to you.
So basically the question is, are you going to let me back through there?
The lead. He's, as I said, used the soft actually just to retain second from the less grippy side of the grid.
I don't see how they can. So that's noted then between Norris and Piastri. They tend to be more lenient on the first few corners in the first
let's
lap
see
in
what
general,
Piastri says.
It's the start, but let's see if the stewards think that that was over-aggressive.
Small amounts of front wing damage. Lando Norris has been told nothing to worry about. I'm sure he will be worrying about it. It's only human nature, I think, as on board we ride then. And he's very much in contention with Max Verstappen here. The gap,
we're back
6/10 of a second. There are 4 DRS zones on this Marina Bay circuit from which to get an extra 20 kilometres an hour of extra pace to try and close in, and he's using that to good advantage now.
And they definitely wouldn't waste 12 seconds changing that in a pit stop either, the front wing. The message is you're not really losing much front downforce. So what's not happening here is what we often see is where the leader just backs the pack up completely, so it's one
This is especially for Russell, he's gaining
so
a lot of
nobody's
space,
got a gap
and
to do
Verstappen is just keeping
an
them
undercut
behind.
pit stop into. It's not happening at all. George is spreading the field out. We've got 16 seconds from 1st to 20th at the moment.
So a likelihood maybe that George Russell is thinking 2-stop strategy is the way to go here. Spread the field out, you've got a gap to pit into.
And if there's no safety car, obviously Max's tyres will start struggling around 15 or 16.
Just a bit. Don't forget, we didn't have a safety car last year or a yellow flag.
We're still reviewing that.
We will. And you need to just focus on what we can do here. Control the controllables, mate.
And the stewards have looked at it and have decided no further investigation needed in case they thought that Lando Norris had caused a collision. While we've been talking, Fernando Alonso has got himself ahead of Isaac Hadjar and up into 8th place.
So the stewards are happy with it, but that looks to me as if McLaren are reviewing it themselves.
Well, what's your take on it, Martin? If they are free to race and have been all season, then did Lando do anything wrong?
I don't think I called it. That's how I called it at the time. I thought it was punchy, opportunistic.
Sure, but it's actually not that bad.
This is a motor race, as I say. The ground rules.
There was a Piastri on the back end. Well, you have.
And I can't see how McLaren can swap that around, that particular one.
Hopefully, to God, that McLaren catches up the pace. And then,
so that's it then, is it? That's how we're going racing.
The time is actually looking real good, especially for
the constructors.
and
Piastri. Worry about squabbling drivers thereafter.
If I was playing devil's advocate, could you argue Monza last year when Oscar Piastri got quite punchy against Lando? Well, Lando's returned the favour. Seems fair to me.
Yeah, I think they have to park all of, you know, what happened here, there and everywhere as George extends his lead again out front, but George Russell. But I thought it was great driving, personally. And I'd have thought that if it was Oscar or anybody else. The problem is that Lando actually made contact with 2 cars doing it, but it's pretty tight down there.
It is. In the Constructors' Championship, it hasn't been tight all season. As it stands, and we're only on lap 5 of 62, McLaren will be Constructors' Champions at the end of this race.
And the other problem McLaren have got now is that at this phase anyway, it does seem that Norris is the faster of the 2 McLarens, but that is this phase of the Grand Prix.
Right, 5 of 62 then. And let's have a look at the race start, shall we? And it was an excellent start from George Russell, who continues to lead this race, and Verstappen soon under pressure from Piastri, and Norris got a brilliant launch ahead of Antonelli.
Yeah, but Piastri was busy trying to watch Verstappen, and that is when...
Let me just quickly refresh it real quick. Oh my lord, oh my lord. I can't watch anymore. I can't watch anymore. Oh my god, I cannot actually watch it. I actually cannot watch it. What the fuck, Sky? You buy out fucking F1 for the UK and then you already fucking ruined it, and now please go kill yourself, Sky. I don't even know what F1 is.
Audi sponsors Formula One on
Finally, we're back on
place
it.
to Isaac Hadja, and that has been noted by the stewards, but nothing decided. That I think is what Oscar Piastri is complaining about. It's more than a love tap, isn't it? That was a I'm coming through tap.
It was just after Norris had collected the back of the Red Bull, and it was sending him across the track, and yeah, it's just about shoved Piastri into the wall, didn't it?
I think, to be fair to Oscar Piastri from the cockpit, I might be complaining about that one as well.
100%.
He certainly would have felt it and certainly wouldn't have enjoyed it, and by what we've heard, he very much didn't enjoy it. Kimi Antonelli wouldn't have enjoyed his start much, and he's dropped a couple of places, but he's now right on the tail of Charles Leclerc. George Russell continues to lead.
No further action from the stewards. As a team, we can see Lando has to avoid Verstappen, so we won't take any action during the race. No further action from the stewards. As a team, we can see Lando has to avoid Verstappen, so we won't take any action during the race. The opportunity to review together afterwards. Focus on this race, mate.
Yeah, but if he has to avoid another car for crashing into his teammate, then that's a big job of avoiding.
This is Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, but if he has to avoid another car by crashing into his teammate, then that's a big job of avoiding.
Some of what's coming his way this season. Go back to Monza, where he's asked to swap places. In qualifying at Monza, where he's asked to give his championship rival a tow to help him to get into Q3. He's complied with that. He's done the team's word, or he's done what the team have asked, and now I think he wants a little bit of payback for him. And I can hear his frustration.
Ooh, that front wing for Oscar Piastri is getting a lot worse.
Yeah, he obviously thinks they. On this occasion,
that
I don't
front
agree
wing
with
is
him,
going to definitely affect
I
it.
can see why he's making the point, and why not make
It's
the
about
point
to rip off.
and put some pressure on the team as George does another fastest lap.
Yeah, Zach Brown
front.
over here chucking the beer.
And yeah, certainly the right-hand side of the grid. I mean, it helped Leclerc, didn't it? It cleared Hamilton then and Antonelli for Charles Leclerc down there up into P5.
No, should in fact take advantage of this and just speed up immediately.
Fernando Alonso, we know the Aston Martin is better in these high downforce racetracks, and up there nicely in 8th at the moment with the soft tyres, but with no safety cars and a drying track and full tanks of fuel, those soft tyres are going to wear out more quickly. They're going to get what we call thermal degradation, also known as too hot, to give full grip.
Too fucking hot, guys.
As well. So
soft tyres do get too fucking
gang
hot.
on those, which is Alonso and Hadjar as well inside the top dozen. We'll have to start babysitting those red mark tyres.
And talking of thermal degradation, he's been suffering all weekend long, Ted Kravitz, but just hang on, Ted, because we've got a yellow flag currently waving. Someone has just gone off the track. momentarily, and we've still got that yellow flag, and DRS has been disabled as a result. I'm just trying to see.
So he got the yellow flag. So he has got yellow flag. Yellow flag has been removed.
DRS is enabled.
I don't know who actually went off the track.
I haven't been suffering, Crofty. I'm loving these conditions. I'm actually opposite McLaren for this race in my spot in the pit lane. And I watched that discussion between Zach Brown and Andrea Stella about what to do, if anything, take place. Zach is a racer, Andrea Stella is also a racer. This is a team of racers, and then that's what they decided to do. Quite right, the decision, but it's this sort of team niceties discussion that we've had all season between the two McLaren drivers, and Monza was part of it, wasn't it, Crofty?
Yep.
That's allowed to Oscar to question the team about an on-track pass.
Okay, so Russell's getting like a huge advantage over here. Russell is literally untouchable, so Mercedes could actually be especially in 2026, could actually be a contender towards McLaren's dominance.
No.
Not in a million years.
No, not at all.
Because of the
McLaren, I'm not sure it's going to be that
impressive gap that they actually achieved.
Oscar Piastri was not overly amused.
And now Ocon has something wrong with his brakes.
Made his feelings known to the team. That was Esteban Ocon. You just saw brief for the team radio there saying that he's got a problem with the brakes. The brakes can overheat very, very easily here.
The strange thing here is, I think for the first time I've ever known, the McLaren drivers are welcome
but
to
be honest, Haas is basically being over just with that lower team. Like, even though they have potential, Haas is basically not really that good a team. Same with the beginner F1 team that
that's a lovely open sporting, and we've never seen that before. No team has ever done that before, and giving their drivers that absolute freedom with the ground rules. But somehow it seems to generate other issues, doesn't it? It's not as straightforward as it perhaps appears.
It should be,
so
but you're right. It should be. It's absolutely not.
How the tyres, how's the pace?
Yeah, pace is good. I think I'm a lot quicker.
Well,
the two in front.
Yeah.
So Oscar,
I think the one in front might be starting to just drop off a bit. Certainly to George Russell, he was half a second slower on the previous lap. Max Verstappen, he's now about 4 seconds back from the leader. Lando Norris within 2 seconds, but you don't want to get too close too soon here because things start to overheat very, very quickly. So you have to be aggressive, but you also have to be a bit patient as well. And I don't think that front wing element has moved
Jimmy close to Verstappen. We actually can see a potential overtake.
But it does.
If
Norris
continues with the pace
move and go down at any moment.
Because the other big thing here, as Norris is in the undercut position with Verstappen, and you need to keep an eye on that in terms of if he pits, he'll pass him. Because Norris now gets first.
I don't think he wants to be aggressive, but he doesn't want to be too aggressive because
which one's
fuck up
in front, which is another thing that will be irking Oscar Piastri.
So, lap 9 of 62, 4.5 seconds, the gap out in front for George Russell. George Russell's teammate Kimi Antonelli currently chasing down Charles Leclerc and trying to keep at bay Lewis Hamilton. Soft tyre runners, Verstappen, Alonso and Hadjar.
And then everyone has joined the Alonso train. Everyone has joined the Alonso train because
down in 17th, he started 13th. Esteban Ocon's got a bit of a problem with his brakes. He's been radioing and telling people, and we're just kind of waiting patiently here with George Russell extending his advantage and pushing as hard as he wants.
George Russell, if he actually keeps up the pace for about 62, he could stay first, but there'll be eventually a pit stop which will lose his reins as first, but eventually he will actually stay up on the podium if he actually keeps up with the pace like he did at the start, like right now, because Russell is too fucking far ahead.
Brake balance and shape, the braking shaping that you have that's causing maybe this, the difference in feel of the pedal.
Okay, nice braking on that shit. Then we're gonna go
shape. There's a new one.
Shape of the braking curve, as it were, and we saw a 59.3 BVAL of coming up, just a number coming up. That's brake by. That means 59.3% of his. Braking of it is now 58.3 for this next
163,
corner. Going to the front axle, and the balance, the remainder,
yeah, basically he has the potential.
42.7.
Russell has the potential. A 5-second gap between Russell and Verstappen. This is literally going to be absolutely beautiful and dominant for Mercedes if George Russell actually wins, which he's actually in fact going to win.
Beautifully for him and Mercedes, because Verstappen has got to nurse those soft tyres. McLaren don't seem to want to cruise up to the back of
as soon as Verstappen has 10-lap-old tyres, soft tyres, so they are in fact segregating, and therefore you have Toto Wolff just chilling,
outside of the top 6 once as well. Both of those were in Monaco.
But anyway, so we have
last year.
Yeah, they're going to degrade quick now, and Verstappen has to box.
Any change there with the downshift, Max? Otherwise, we've got.
No, it's really.
Okay, understood.
And the downshift's not exactly impressing Max Verstappen. That's not the first time we've heard that this season.
Or last season.
Yeah. Very true, but George has been a modicum of consistency this year.
Red Bull is on, of course, decline because they've been focusing too much on Verstappen instead of too much on Verstappen's feedback and what he wants his car to feel, making sure that Yuki Tsunoda's car feels more like the same car that Verstappen has compared to having his own car with his own feels and shit. Which would do the decline, and on top of this, it doesn't really help that that Tsunoda is in 17th and then Verstappen is in 2nd. So pretty much Verstappen is carrying Red Bull at the moment, while Tsunoda is literally back of the race, literally barely getting any points. And it's been a pattern for years, so.
Right.
It wouldn't be a surprise if Yuki Tsunoda gets removed and then eventually gets switched over with, who knows, Isaac Hadjar or pretty much any other driver from F2 maybe, or even from their development program that they started.
I think there's no further investigation on that. No, there isn't.
But let's get back onto it, as that we have Kimi Antonelli in 6th, well, Charles Leclerc in 5th also.
Currently in the top 10. Look how that gap is opening up. I said 2 laps ago, it's 4.5
seconds. The gaps are in fact
6 seconds between
so
Russell
open,
and
especially
Verstappen.
for Russell, because god damn, he has in fact made a massive dead 6-second fucking gap between Russell and Verstappen. This is like absolutely diabolical, especially for Verstappen. Like, George Russell is untouchable.
Certainly Lando and Oscar.
George Russell is untouchable at this point, because Verstappen is too slow on it. He needs to in fact catch up with the pace.
They really need to come up and start putting some pressure on Max Verstappen.
And Kimi Antonelli applying pressure to the Ferrari ahead of him, which is Charles Leclerc, gaining 7/10 in the last 6 laps or so.
But who knows, if they actually see a potential
Kimi's
gap decreasing, but I don't really think that's going to be the case, especially for earlier in the race.
So do most drivers. We'll see now when we go on board. Does that look right hand down to you?
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? That's heavily right hand down going down the straight, isn't it? That's an awful feeling, because you need to give it less turn in the right-handers and more in the left-handers.
It's an awful lot to try and work out on your first foray into a race in Singapore when you're 19 years old and your first season in Formula One. He's the leading rookie driver in this race so far. Let's head to Ant at race control.
Yeah, Kimi Antonelli doing a cracking job at the moment.
Yeah, Antonelli as a rookie himself just started. He's actually doing quite impressive with it.
So if he can do
like,
this
with all rookies on board, we all could expect them just to be in the back of the pack, but he actually has the pace, he has the catch-up, he has everything. He's basically the perfect driver.
Been on the radio as well,
also, especially in qualifying and practice, he has shown potential to the maximum, basically gaining top position
to mitigate that. But
yeah,
looks to me like
so basically Antonelli has the pace, has everything,
the way that Russell's
and it's pretty much perfect. He could be the next Oscar Piastri if he actually starts focusing and cleaning up his racing, because if he focuses on the Dutch Grand Prix, we would have saw that he would have easily knocked over a shit ton of people, and especially for Ferrari, since both Mercedes, especially Antonelli and George Russell, has intentionally, I believe, or pretty much,
to get a pit stop away,
possibly
a little bit of an undercut to get out on fresh
purposeful.
Even
though it sounds like a bit biased, it could be, but like
in before your rivals,
basically, especially for the
gain 3 seconds on them with
they will both make contact towards the Ferraris, taking them out.
So far, though, no one into the pits. It's all quiet down there, apart from Ted.
Yeah, but that Kimi Antonelli steering issue, I'm convinced that's what they were doing. They were fiddling. They were trying to adjust the steering rack of Antonelli's car. That's what we saw on the grid, Crofty.
Yeah.
Now, certainly I saw something happening with Russell, but they were messing around with actually the steering rack on Kimi's. It looked like they had it fixed. Maybe they just thought, look, we can't do any more for it. Let's just button it up and send him on his way. But that would be something that they saw from the formation lap if they weren't able to fix it. And how much of a challenge is that for Kimi at the hardest race of the year to be able to be driving?
7-second gap between Verstappen and Russell. This is literally like.
In the last couple of races for Kimi
where is
Antonelli.
Russell? Russell
He's
is
a very talented young man.
literally
He's got it all
leaving
to do, here tonight.
Verstappen
This is a pit stop,
in the
for Red Bull. And a wing change down at Sauber, that'll be for Bortoletto.
Okay, so
is the Red Bull
Snowden and Bortoletto are both pitting.
Front wing, if you think
to the honest, they should just be outside of it. Yeah, Bortoletto's wing got absolutely fucked up.
Completely falls off. And Lando Norris saying there, I hit the wall. Keep an eye out. Remember, on his way to victory last year, he might have glanced the wall and very nearly at turn 14 went into the wall and ended his chance of victory. Bortoletto comes back out in the race along with Sonoda. They are the last two.
Yeah, this can be good.
So yeah, Russell's literally just absolutely leaving them behind to the point that he could actually potentially catch up to Bortoletto himself.
As a fresh tyre at the back. And let's have a look at what happened down into turn 1. People coming at you from all directions. He just got pincered, didn't he?
Yeah, but
Stroll.
Stroll made contact with Bortoletto, but it was unintentional since Bortoletto has in fact turned into his tyre.
And what have you in those front wings are hugely complex.
Is this where Lando Norris hit the wall? Turn 17, yes it was. It's a glance.
It was a smooth contact,
well, it always looks kind of okay, doesn't it? And then when we see it here, it always looks harder, but I think that's all right.
It's a scraping, a glance of the wall.
Understeered, he just understeered into the wall. You could see the front tyre scrubbing across the racetrack. He's having too many adventures this evening, is young Lando.
Skirmishes that he is surviving, but sometimes he's just got to have nights like that and get through it. Colapinto now in the pits for Alpine. He was one of those that started on the soft compound tyre.
Okay, Colapinto placing it with his mediums. Colapinto is in fact out now, so Colapinto has mediums out, so he's going to last a little bit longer than compared to the soft themselves. And on top of this, he could potentially catch up if everyone in front of him potentially box,
not going to the finish.
Albon could potentially box,
race for him.
And everyone else is about 14 to 17 tyres old, especially for Verstappen, because he has to box since his tyres are really old, like 17 laps old.
Behind some one-stoppers,
if they're to be 50 laps, it's 30 laps old, since it degrades a lot more quicker.
On board with the
and therefore, Verstappen has to box towards mediums if he was to carry on the good pace that he has.
1.1 seconds behind Max Verstappen. You think that undercut would be pretty easy. The pit window opens at about lap 20 for the soft tyre runners. And if you were Red Bull, you probably wouldn't want Max Verstappen losing time getting involved defending. You'd bring him in sooner rather than later if you could.
Yeah, and what's happened here is Mercedes and Russell have got themselves an 8-second lead. They can afford to wait a lap before reacting to anybody trying to undercut them. That's a lovely, comfortable cushion.
Yeah, but if they ever box, if Russell ever boxes,
a quarter of the track away,
he would lose the pace that he has.
And then
so
there's only 3 of them. So
basically, I would recommend him to do stay out for the whole race. It sounds like an absolute shit move. But like, yeah, but he has medium tyres, so his pit window is 26 to 32.
Are all going at safety car speed.
So basically, for the soft tyres will be Verstappen, Stroll, and Alonso.
Behind his teammate Lando
and then everyone else will be around 20 to 32.
Slower
then
for the British
Snowden and Bortoletto, they would in fact
in
do
exactly
it
the
hard.
same car, albeit a slightly different front wing to Lando's there. Is that tyre management? Is that kind of pace management? Thinking that one stopper might be the way to go here. Let my teammate push a little bit. He might have to stop
Personally, what I
twice, I'll
recommend
get him in
George
the
wants to do is keep up with the pace and keep up with the push, because
want to do.
more gap equals better, and eventually he would in fact start lapping cars, and that would actually be quite cool just to see.
If we don't have a safety car, they'll probably be underfueled.
There's about a 70-second gap between Bortoletto and I think Sonoda, I think. I don't know. It was probably the leader, gap to the leader. That is about 70 seconds.
And now we've got through a lot
which
of fuel
is absolutely insane, and shows that Russell is pretty much winning, and on top of this, Mercedes development has in fact reached a whole new level. Like, it's so good.
We've got some fuel element going on.
Like,
but
I can see Mercedes to be the new rivalry contender towards McLaren's dominance, and who knows, it could be going from McLaren's dominance to Mercedes dominance. But we won't ever see a Ferrari dominance.
Is there team radio?
Well, it just said box to overtake Verstappen. There was no audio. We had the we just had the written word instead. Ted, you'd be a fan of that.
Are they duping?
Okay, they're going to box in order to overtake Verstappen, I think.
The helmets are being secured, and they might make a stop. They might not. They're trying to cover all the bases, but the problem is...
I think they're going to switch out towards new tyres just so that they can actually, in fact, overtake Verstappen's really old tyres. Because here, Verstappen has to, in fact, box around now if he wants to keep up with the pace, or change them up toward mediums just to keep up with the pace itself.
But they're on the soft tyre, and I'm assuming...
Oh, no, they're going back in.
I was going to say, I'm assuming they think they're going in. They called him to stay out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of those, he'd do the overtake on Max Verstappen, but he would get stuck behind the Alonso-Hadjar battle.
Yeah, it makes no sense, does it? That was, yeah, that was almost a bit blatant, wasn't it?
You weren't convinced at all, were you?
It's you know, box would have done it, but box to overtake Max kind of, I don't know, it sort of rang as a bit of a because there's just simply, they'll just put him back into traffic, going to be a horror story. Tedos.
The other problem, of course, if they came out with the hard tyres, Martin, so of course one stop. The perfect time to stop medium going on to hard is about 8 laps from now, lap 26, 27. So if they put Lando on the hard, told him to go to the end of the race, that would make him vulnerable to Oscar, wouldn't it, later on in the race? So that's the other reason why they don't really want to stop so early.
Yeah, and to be fair, they tell the driver, so the driver doesn't have to come back on the road and go, why are we stopping now? My tyres feel fantastic. They will give them that sort of information, but it was quite a bit too well telegraphed, that one.
Nobody is within 1 second at the moment of DRS range. So you get that extra pace down the straights to try and make an overtake. The closest driver to their rival on track is this man, Lando Norris. It was just a few hundredths outside of Max Verstappen's magic 1 second advantage. George Russell now nearly 9 seconds clear.
Okay,
he did a
so
1:37.0 on the last
it looks
lap.
as if Verstappen is untouchable based on the pace that he has.
And Oscar Piastri put in a 1:36.9. Is this now where Oscar Piastri, after managing his tyres, starts to just push that little bit more and bring himself back into
Norris has to push it a little bit more just so that you can actually catch up to Verstappen just a little bit, just so that in the next DRS range you can enable it and then start to do his overtake.
What happened in the first couple of corners and the lack of any.
It's as if the gap is closing between Norris and Verstappen as it looks visually, as that they're extremely close together compared to Norris and Piastri.
This is where McLaren need to start using the raw pace that they have.
Absolutely. And Piastri setting a personal best in the first sector on this lap 19 to try and get that advantage that Norris has over him down even more. Would he be allowed, I wonder, free to race to do the undercut on his teammate? His teammate just has to...
So the sectors ain't that bad. Will Piastri set up the first one sector and then
given time,
right after we have Ocon with the second
dimensions
sector
opening up into that particular context.
Get ourselves new sector times. time.
Lando's currently 21 seconds ahead of Fernando Alonso.
With Verstappen out.
The gap we talked about dropping into. And this looks like Red Bull are going to go first with the hard compound tyre.
Verstappen is coming into the pits. Norris stays
So
out.
Verstappen is going to go in for the pits, basically decreasing himself towards fourth, but
for the soft tyre runners on lap 20, and it is Max Verstappen who comes in. That looks about a second slower than he would have wanted, and it is, and that might make Lando's job that little bit easier to do the overcut on him if he can.
So this is where McLaren then have got to just punch some incredible times in, and he does get out in front of Fernando Alonso. The gap we talked about some 20 minutes ago, that was the key thing when the race separated into two parts. It's enabled that, and Red Bull have used the absolutely first opportunity to do that. So what will McLaren do? Will they, if they react to that, they'll end up behind Verstappen. If they've got incredible pace, they need to deliver it now.
Outlap critical, let's get on with it. Gianpiero Lambiase says to Max Verstappen. The undercut is really, really powerful here in Singapore.
Nice one. Now, Norris and Piastri are in fact in second and third. This is actually quite great for Norris and Piastri. Well, we have Verstappen in seventh, just behind Hamilton and Antonelli and Leclerc.
He might only just be ahead of the Aston Martin. Will they pit him this lap?
But to be honest though, he's not that has to catch up before he actually gets his contract potentially suspended by Red Bull, because his performance over the years, especially with Red Bull, has been poor and not really been that great. Making sure that Verstappen has to keep up and catch up most points as he can. Well, you can know that he's better than any
lap of the Grand Prix though. His teammate
Hajar is in fact going into box.
Was actually quicker than Norris on that lap.
To get some new hards on.
Out in front now by 10 and a bit seconds from Norris, then Piastri, then Leclerc, Antonelli in 5th place, and still that 1.5 seconds behind Charles Leclerc, who's coming in for Racing Bulls. It's not Liam Lawson, it's Isaac Hadjar who's making his way.
Isaac Hadjar's coming in and
from the points.
See, at this sort of pace, Verstappen is quite quickly going to come up behind Hamilton, Antonelli, and Leclerc.
Oh my God, Norris and Piastri work together in order to use that raw pace that they have developed over the years to simply catch up and decrease the gap towards George Russell.
Pit. Now, if you're Mercedes...
This is going to be tight, Martin. Sorry to cut in there.
Well, basically, Norris and Piastri have been both setting an extremely good time. Well, Leclerc is in fact pitting to get new tyres, even decreasing all the way down.
Mercedes, you might just leave Antonelli out there for a little while.
Yep, with the solid good times of 136. Basically, Leclerc is going to start.
Yeah, and I think maybe McLaren will be, if they weren't listening to your comments, thinking it very much themselves, and that might be what saves their strategy for the time being and keeping Lando Norris
Leclerc
out.
is going to go back in to the race.
So they've told Lando and Oscar to stick to their target lap time. So both laps in succession, they did 37.0. This time around, both of them 36.7s.
It says
so
that Norris
and 37.0, their target lap time.
Norris is in fact catching up to George Russell.
Offset right now.
So the gap is decreasing, and we have to.
This will catch their attention.
But to be honest, though, this impressive gap that started with shows that immense performance and the raw pace that Mercedes have been developing over the years. And on top of this, it shows that they have the performance in order to contend with McLaren, to be honest.
Charles Leclerc needs to be out ahead of
well,
Nico
Verstappen just shows that softs don't in fact help you in the long run.
They thought we could get out and get clear of Hulkenberg. They haven't, and obviously there's a tyre offset between Leclerc and the Sauber.
Yep, we have to see a gap decrease. We have to see a nice gap decrease.
He's going to get held up.
He should breeze past this car.
Stayed just below the 10-second mark, which is actually quite good and quite developing.
And the customer motor in the back of that Sauber for Ferrari. Anyway, you used to say massive tyre offset.
Okay, so free to push now.
Friday, but everything is working against me this race.
needed a couple of laps, not to go absolutely flat out, to get pace, to get heat, to bring the tyres up to a really good temperature, but not overdo it, because if you just bring these hard tyres in nice and gently, they'll be your friend for quite some time.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go, hasn't he, on them 40 laps, but it sounds like he's carrying car issues. We know he's carrying downshift issues.
Yeah.
Max is not particularly happy in there, is he? Verstappen then does a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but it's only 3/10 faster than the McLarens on their used tyres.
Back.
We think obviously back to races earlier in the season where McLaren had much better tyre wear than
Verstappen seems to have the best time at one.
Ferrari,
Basically, Verstappen has the best time for the race on 1:06.20.
They haven't been bringing.
So he has everything, but everything's working against him in this race in Singapore.
We'll see.
Red Bull have just made what they had work properly, is my understanding,
rather
than with some new front wing bits. But you see what I mean about how quickly he's catching.
Okay, we actually seen a nice gap decrease from the upper 9 milliseconds to about just below the 9-second mark. Also, this decrease, especially at lap 20 out of 62, will actually show right eventually later in the race, especially the later laps that we have to see. Norris and Russell fight for first place, really.
Last time around.
And who knows, because you get Piastri to catch up with
Verstappen as well, out of the
Norris, and hopefully they will both work together and fight.
You've got those gaps and you're trying as hard as you can. Norris was 36.7.
Yeah, this is my place. Tyres are dropping.
That's all she wrote as far as George has got.
So,
I'm just wondering, Piastri can push, get that gap reduced in half between himself and Norris. Quickly.
So the gap between Piastri and Norris is about 4 seconds.
You'd imagine
Norris
first, but who knows?
Russell is about 8 seconds.
I mean,
well, the gap towards the lead is about like 30 seconds.
All is fair.
Ain't that bad, but hopefully they can actually use the performance that they had for the past couple of Grand Prixes in this race and just absolutely dotted it across. It's not Azerbaijan where the tracks are very tight, with very tight corners and everything. This is nicely a Singapore Grand Prix in the Marina Bay where the tracks are much more wider, and personally my favourite street track since it's more similar to a circuit track.
Is paying handsome dividends for him at the moment.
It is. It gives them freedom.
Currently Leclerc is 5 seconds behind your pit window.
I mean, I don't want to lose track position to him. Deck feels pretty low.
Yeah, they're nervous. Well, that's what we talked about. You know, they've got to protect
so
Oscar
basically the
Charles Leclerc
tyre performance is actually quite well for Oscar Piastri.
On board with Max Verstappen.
Hamilton just boxed and now he's in
currently.
9th position.
Ahead of him, and they're going to get him out of the way, Ferrari.
Those are some new hards. So, and then Ollie Behrman has boxed for some new tyres. So has Gasly, he's boxing for some new mediums, I believe.
I think the McLarens are coming a bit here as well, and are making their move to try and bring themselves back into this race. As Hamilton now pits, that didn't look to be as straightforward as he would have wanted. 3.5 seconds. It's a slow pit stop for Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, the right front didn't get the invitation particularly early, did it? That was a difficult one, but I don't think it'll cost Lewis too much because he was sort of on the back of that pack. He can make that up.
It's whether he comes out ahead or behind, and Lawson it is going to be
Norris and Piastri are about to enter the DRS zone 4.
Done there. So what McLaren got to do now is get a tyre offset,
get trap
fresher tyres. Piastri's got to watch out for Leclerc.
Norris is in first place. Norris is in first place. Norris and Piastri. Norris and Piastri are in both first and second. This is absolutely insane going for both of them.
Have to pit Piastri.
This is absolutely lit. This is absolutely lit so far. Norris and Piastri are both in first and second. Well, Russell had to box for new tyres.
A little bit slow.
now, since they're actually in first now, there wasn't really that much of a fight. They will have to, in fact, keep up with the pace, just so George Russell had towards the beginning of the race.
Come out, his pace has really dropped off. He's got an engine issue. He's losing about 4/10 of a lap. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, so George
okay, Mercedes has in fact boxed George Russell for some new hards.
They've been done a favour by Max Verstappen
yeah,
in the first stint. George has the latitude. Just take it easy and pit now. Quickly followed by Kimi Antonelli. So almost a double stack by Mercedes.
And I think
so Mercedes done a double stack. That means Antonelli had to box the new hards, and now he's in 7th. This is actually the pace has just next couple of laps in order to simply catch up to the pace, and hopefully by lap 30 they would.
He's going to have to pit soon to cover Leclerc. Are you willing to let Leclerc pit? Let Oscar pit the lap before you?
Yep. No, I would not.
I was surprised I heard a yes there.
I thought he said yes, but he said no, I will not.
He said yes, no. This is Monza all over again, and he's not happy to give Oscar the first call this time around. And I'm not surprised, to be honest, because it didn't exactly work out for him at the time very well.
Norris has in fact pitted. He's now just lost that pace, and hopefully by the time Norris is in fact in 4th position. He's gonna catch up towards Piastri in 2nd, and then hopefully Piastri can in fact box just so that he can get the tyres replaced.
The Monza again, as you said. But it's the right time to bring that car in. But as we see Piastri go through into what is now the lead.
So Piastri takes the lead of this race. George Russell will move back into 2nd place. The key we're watching here is Max Verstappen. There goes George Russell.
Stop time at 2.1 seconds is actually really good.
Then comes Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, and Lando Norris will come out once again behind Max. Now he's a lot further back.
So Piastri is in fact really ahead, while Norris is
before Max pitted. But it's that
kind of behind on it,
hoping will pay dividends.
Yeah, in between doesn't have
he's got advantage
nicely with
Russell
and Verstappen.
He's got advantage on the tyres as they now pit, of course, Piastri to defend against Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. So game on.
Okay, and now Alonso,
of course, Verstappen's a lot closer.
Is defending his position from Leclerc.
We have an engine issue, 3 to 4 tenths a lap. I'm really sorry. It's back. Wait, what the hell is wrong with this engine again?
Oh my God!
Not overly happy.
Racing Bulls just announced that the engine has been fucked up. The engine has in fact got fucked up, and now right there will have to box and retire the car, I believe, because
this race down in 15th after his pit
so
stop.
Isaac Hadjar is going to probably be out of the race since his engine does not have the pace to contend in this race.
And neither has this man.
Now Piastri has in fact boxed. Now he's in 4th. Well, we have Norris in 3rd. So both around one position ahead makes it so that they could potentially catch up if they both stay near each other's positions.
The left rear won't go off. Oh my goodness me, not again. They were so happy with themselves with Lando's stop because they didn't have a problem. Now
oh my God, a 5 second stop time for Oscar. Apparently the front wing would not come off.
5 seconds. Ah, no, you gain
absolutely terrible. But don't worry, we have a lot of laps in this race in order to catch up with the pace and most importantly catch up towards 1st and 2nd.
Just in terms of being further behind his teammate Lando Norris, but yeah, so Lando rolled the dice there, didn't want
problem at Aston Martin.
Alonso just has box.
So the wheel gun just won't engage on the nut to tighten it up. And if it was say another 4 seconds stationary for Fernando Alonso.
A 9.2 second stop for Alonso.
Out of the points after running a super first stint of this race. He comes out behind Liam Lawson and be hoping, behind Isaac Hadjar, be hoping he's ahead then of Colapinto in the Alpine, and
absolutely
he is. But only just to go back to that McLaren pit stop, Martin. 4.13 seconds for Lando Norris in Baku, 5.37 seconds in Monza, and a 5.2 second pit stop here in Singapore. You know, it's like London buses, these slow pit stops, and this one affecting Piastri, the two previous affecting Norris.
Let's have a look at it. He's on his marks, he's in the middle.
Yeah, it's that left rear.
Yeah.
It's always one of the rear tyres that just somehow manage to lock up. So hopefully,
overtaking by
2026 they actually fix up some of the tyres and make sure that they actually don't lock up as much, and just so that they decrease the chances of actually
let's refresh ourselves,
being retired from the race itself.
Seconds to Max Verstappen. The gap was over 10 seconds before the
so
pit
now
stops,
Russell's in first, Verstappen's in second. It says it's at the start again.
Into third place, and he's got fresher tyres.
But the main difference is that the gap is not as much between Verstappen and Russell compared to the start of the race of about 8 or 9 seconds, which is quite good now, as that Verstappen could actually have a chance this time in order to overtake. And then
DRS helping him at
the gap between Norris and Verstappen is around 4.29,
so far you'd have to say that,
which also shows that they could eventually
and
if
on the hard compound
Piastri could actually catch up towards Norris,
because he's now matching George Russell, whereas George Russell was just steaming away.
They could potentially
George will have it, I'm sure, be pacing himself.
Help each other out together, and then potentially do an overtake of Verstappen in one of the DRS zones.
Just as we ride on board with Kimi Antonelli, let's just watch his
is
steering
lap
wheel.
30.
And that issue still affecting him. Right hand down to keep it straight.
34 to go.
If you speak to me every lap, I will disconnect the radio.
That sounds like a want to be alone.
Fucking Alonso! Fucking Alonso with that absolute
That is
GTS
a tell me only once message, isn't it?
In fact, don't tell me only once. I don't want you to tell me anything. Unlike Anthony Davidson at Sky Race Control, who we would like to tell everything.
Well, I mean, just looking at this the rear-end view there of Charles Leclerc.
That's absolutely wild coming out. Fucking
the threat of that
Alonso, he's going to disconnect the radio. He does not really like his own fucking team, that's for sure.
Into this race. Both drivers at McLaren were reporting before their stops that the tyres felt okay. They were fine to carry.
Let's in fact hear that shit again one more time, because that shit was extremely funny. Oh god, where's Alonso's?
.34 to go.
If you speak to me every lap, I will disconnect the radio.
Absolutely fucking Pete coming out of Alonso's mouth. This is
that, remember, Max was told.
Now we are back at the race itself. He's
and thrashed the life
so
out of
what happened? Alonso gonna disconnect the radio,
as well.
And he's gonna throw it outside the fucking car because he doesn't like his team talking to him.
Kimi Antonelli, by the way, fastest
but
man
don't
on
worry,
with the fastest lap, I should say.
We
but
have
this
Antonelli and
DRS zones
potentially gonna overtake Leclerc. If he increases his pace throughout the race itself. Has about a 65-meter gap between each other.
Look mistake.
And it's decreasing about 30-20.
Coming out of there, I'm
oh my god, we may actually see a potential fight
Charles Leclerc
for 5th position.
I'm just trying to look at the tyre offset on lap 21.
But let's actually focus on this way, actually lap 31.
Lap 25. She's got a 4-lap tyre offset. Now, is that enough?
Antonelli and Leclerc are extremely close, about a gap of 0.736. So it's just under a second. So we have a literal fight going on the track itself. Seeing that there is like a below a second gap between each other.
Because if you can carry extra speed,
we will see Leclerc speeding off, or we will see an actual overtake between Kimi Antonelli and Leclerc. This fight is
easy to forget that Kimi Antonelli's 19 years old. He's a teenager, isn't it?
Only just 19 years of age as well. Kimi Antonelli.
Kimi is a solid 19 years old and doing this shit. That's wild. Anyways,
Isaac Hadger had his birthday the other
Kimi
day.
could, okay, the gap is increasing between Antonelli and Leclerc. I don't know if Antonelli has in fact enabled the DRS, but now he's actually in fact decreasing.
Where Max Verstappen was probably the happiest of any driver.
There's about a second gap between each other.
Got his license to race the Nordschleife. Won the 4-hour NLS race in a Ferrari with Chris Lollam as well. He had a great September. October hasn't started as well as he was hoping, but he's certainly not out of this one.
Now we have
Piastri. That's the third consecutive lap where Verstappen, and for that matter,
there's a
Norris
larger gap building between Norris and Piastri.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can in fact decrease the gap between each other. That 9-second gap between each other. Hopefully they can actually decrease this gap and eventually catch up to Norris, because
per lap. I guess
this
the
is not good
lining to that cloud, Crofty, is that at least Norris, well, is not really closing up, particularly on
Max Verstappen.
At the moment, Norris isn't going to win the race.
Speed up potentially,
as things stand
but
at the
since
moment,
he's
has
in
the best
first,
of winning the
he
race,
has
so Oscar would
added about lap 32 now.
To Norris.
I think for me,
he's eventually just
over
going to speed
halfway
off
distance.
and just shows
Nobody has
the
done
two performance
anything
that
like
Mercedes
a long
has
fuel
in fact been
run,
developing
for with heavy
pretty
fuel
much
so
this
far this
year,
weekend in these sort of conditions. So the teams really have no idea how it's going to go from here on in, because FP2 was disrupted
especially
by
around
so
the end
many,
of 2025, we actually be seeing that development is
they
in
are
fact
all racing into the unknown.
going really good, and it's really affected their
towards
times
the
to be a
season,
lot
they
more
kind of
better.
know their cars quite well, but you're right, they don't know.
To the point that he's actually beating Verstappen
on this. Obviously, it's a temporary racetrack, and it rubbers in a lot. You don't quite know where it's heading to.
I saw Bernd Mailander, the safety car driver, a bit earlier. I said, you're preparing for a busy night.
Okay, so the fight between Leclerc and Antonelli is
remembering last year where
not really been there anymore since Leclerc is making a nice gap between Antonelli, and that'll be a nice 1.704 gap between each other. And that gap's going to stay pretty much similarly the same, unless your Antonelli increases that pace.
In that particular in a particular race. Ollie Behrman's getting some racing done as he makes his way back through the field. He's got past Alex Albon.
So
Carlos Sainz is the next ahead of him. Albon and Sainz haven't pitted yet. Stroll hasn't pitted yet. Lawson hasn't pitted yet. Maybe hoping to take advantage of a safety car if it comes.
So there's still people who have not pitted yet. Albert says Stroll, Lawson, pretty much are the only people that have not pitted yet and still on the same old tyres as they were at the start of the race. And
Stroll, by the way, started 15th.
They will need to in fact box, or they will in fact start losing positions because of that tyre degradation.
They've lasted 32 laps so far on that soft compound tyre, which is a pretty decent achievement, even though he is lapping in the 139s at the moment.
In the leaderboard itself, we actually see that
money on loads of new tyres.
DNS between Sainz and Barrowman.
Budget is what he's been sold.
You want what? Some new tyres?
Not at all. What do you think I made of money? 3 seconds the gap out in front. As I say that, it drops to 2.9 and a bit. George Russell ahead of Max Verstappen, bit by bit, and half a second on the last lap. Verstappen's coming at Russell here, you know.
You see the
cemetery, so he really is. Unless George has got a little bit of time in his pocket, if he has, he needs to start delivering it. But yeah, that's actually a tremendous job from Lance Stroll to get this far into the race on tyres that were believed to be good for 18 to 20 laps. In fact, it's a sterling effort.
And his sister's here as well, and Scotty, Chloe's here, and Scotty, her husband, and Lawrence's grandchild is here as well. Absolutely fabulous to see them.
So as you can see that Verstappen's dominance is based on the straights, while George Russell's is about the bends itself. So
brushing the wall slightly.
That Verstappen has to, when you get towards Verstappen's
seemed clean when he
dominance,
hit the throttle.
let's see.
So, to remember so far,
as we can see, that Verstappen's dominance is in fact viewed straight as
it's a
clear
bigger
see.
bang.
So
We saw Lando Norris scrape the wall a little bit earlier.
Is actually in fact doing the
Verstappen
itself,
was faster than Russell. Norris was also about 4/10 faster, and Piastri was about half a second faster than George Russell.
Well,
so it's not just a pace advantage from the guy behind George, it's a pace advantage that the guys behind.
We actually see like
Max
a gap decrease between Russell and Verstappen.
Yeah, we're just getting in the second half of the race. So Lando Norris there being reminded to drink, and that's a good thing to remind, because you forget when you're in the car. But all of a sudden, George can see that.
We actually see a nice gap decrease from Verstappen to Russell itself. So we may actually see a battle for first now, or the next lap. That's about to come on
the longer straight.
So be lap 35 or lap 36. But I believe it's going to be about the end of lap 35 and the start of lap 36.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a slow burn at the end of this race, but there's enough tyre offset out there to make this quite a competitive finish.
So Russell now has to focus on the racing, just so that he could.
We're done here yet. And Charles Leclerc has, by the way, just set his fastest lap of the race, trying to keep Kimi Antonelli at bay.
He now has to lock in and
strategists working
fix up
hard
just enough Verstappen does not overtake him and
trying to work out what the target lap times are for the drivers to get those tyres to the finish and to get them into the place where they need them
Don't
to
see
be.
that much overtaking so far. It was in the same position.
Struggling a little bit on at the moment.
So what they're
especially Stroll, who's defending
like this
quite
is a
well,
car,
and Colapinto,
so cheap pit stop,
and Hulkenberg. So we see like a lot of good gaps. Like we have Russell, Verstappen, and
35,
Norris, Piastri on his own, Leclerc, Antonelli with Hamilton on his own, and then we see Lawson on his own. Well, behind him is Stroll, who's pretty much just clogging up the rest of the race with Colapinto also clogging up the rest of the race. So
and get that advantage behind George Russell.
Potentially
I would imagine George Russell would dearly love Max not to be within a second as well. Carlos Sainz is very much within a second of Lance Stroll here as we make our way through turn 11 towards this unrelenting sequence of corners across the Anderson Bridge and then onto the Esplanade. And Ted, we can head to you.
Nothing Aston Martin can do about it, but Lance Stroll doing this tyre marathon on the soft is really hurting his teammate.
No, it has to in fact accelerate right now and all the way up to top
1 second to Sainz, less than that to Behrman, less than that to Albon, and then Hadjar with an engine problem, and then Alonso on Hadjar's tail.
Nice. It's about to catch up to Verstappen. This is actually going to be absolutely lit. So we're going to see a gap decrease between them.
Bit of a DRS daisy
Norris has to step up acceleration right now, right?
See if Carlos Sainz can do something about it here.
And that gap is in fact decreasing between both of them.
Isn't Stroll actually backing the pack up nicely for Alonso to catch up after that?
He actually has to in fact catch up.
So because there's quite a queue now, and Alonso can now start having a go at Hadjar, Albon and co with his fresher tyres.
Yeah, it would be good teamwork if that certainly is the case. George Russell's definitely just picked up his pace a little bit compared to those around him, and they're all lapping within 1/10 of a second of each other, the top four.
Yeah, 3 different teams in the top 4, and they were virtually identical lap times last time around.
Lap 37 here in Singapore.
What happened? What happened? What happened?
And Lando Norris crossed the line, if you don't mind, at this moment.
So we have...
Max has had a bit of a drama somewhere. I'm going to assume he's locked his front tyres up going in here. And,
oh my God!
Like Norris did last year.
Oh my God! That's what that video was from. Oh my God!
That was a big lockup. I'm not surprised that caught Max.
That was a massive lockup for Verstappen.
Very, very close with the Alpine of Pierre Gasly. That's the battle for last place.
That was a massive lockup.
It's Fernando Alonso and Isaac Hadjar And Hadjar staying ahead of Fernando Alonso, but only just, because Alonso's coming back at him, and he's got onto the marbles a bit there, has the racing
So
balls.
Verstappen just lost the pace that he had, and now Norris is going to potentially catch up.
Manages to keep Alonso at bay.
If Verstappen fucks up again, but he may actually lose his position to Norris.
I thought Fernando got the job done there, but Isaac Hadjar
Verstappen
had a different
is pretty
point
much
of view.
too stressed
DRS
out.
down the pit straight,
Ooh, what a
steaming
beautiful
round the outside.
overtake.
But somehow Hadjar keeps making the apex.
I'll tell you what, there's a young man called Will Mack. Will McIntyre is going to be really enjoying that and all of this racing. GB3 racer.
Alonso just overtake Isaac Hadjar, allowed by
Will Mack 37. He has got a battle off track at the moment that he is fighting, and had some pretty bad news a couple of weeks ago. And the motorsport
McLaren,
community has sent a lot of
Mercedes,
love and support to him, and
50
we do
points,
that
Mercedes
as
with
well as he
223
continues,
points, Ferrari
his
202 points,
recovery,
and Red Bull
back
with
at
290
home.
points.
We'll see you down
And
the
with
gym
Red Bull,
soon,
they're
Will.
owning,
You can
mostly
fight this
owning
one, mate,
all
you
the
really
points
can.
from Verstappen instead of the...
Trophy for the hero of race.
That's cheered Alonso up, isn't it? You know?
Hell yeah,
I don't wanna hear from
Alonso.
you. Don't talk to me. Look now, give me a trophy.
He means Hadjar, does he, presumably?
I think he means himself, doesn't he?
Okay, that was...
that was great overtaking. It was very feisty
Alonso's
racing.
13th.
Good defense from Hadjar, but very
Now he
feisty
would actually
from
have to
Fernando.
catch up
And
to
again, then Fernando
Albon,
can now
Alex
cruise
Albon,
straight
and
up,
then overtake him.
Behind, he lost a lot of time in that battle. But
Okay,
if
so
Stroll
the
stays
gap
out,
is in
it'll
fact,
put
I think,
Alonso
quite
on
decreasing.
the back of Albon and Co.
Now
as
around
well,
second
who
between
are yet
Verstappen
to
and
stop.
Norris.
Oh, that's good defending there from Lance Stroll. Carlos Sainz thought for a moment that the door was open.
There's a nice
It's
defending
not.
going on
Stroll's in the
between
points,
Stroll
but he's
and
got to
Carlos
pit.
Sainz, I
Carlos
believe.
Sainz has got to pit too. They're having a great old ding-dong. Ollie Behrman has pitted and would quite like to clear both of them.
Verstappen has been off at turn 2 as well on the previous lap, so seems as if he's starting to struggle with slowing that Red Bull down.
So the issues, the downshift issues that he's been suffering from, are they starting to affect him more? I thought this was just great racing.
Great racing.
To be fair. Fernando Alonso getting all squirrely as he gets the power down there. Slightly lost the rear end.
He just buried the throttle and left a number 11 with his black rear tyres, didn't he? And off he goes. That was a very feisty. And look then, as we've got Lando Norris now beginning to really close Max Verstappen down. So Verstappen, when he has a tidy lap, is fast enough, is all right. It's the little errors that are creeping in, where he's clearly struggling with the control of the car.
And there was Norris right behind him, and we back to see a fight between both of them.
Just under 5 seconds.
As now we see the gap just decreasing. Norris has the pace. Hopefully he uses the pace to his advantage.
Deleted at turn 2, so he's gone off again at turn 2 with those struggles to bring the car to a slow.
in McLaren, that's
was half a second clear, faster than Lando Norris on the last lap.
Okay.
So that gap's 8 seconds, but if it keeps coming down by half a second, well, he'll be there or thereabouts at the end.
I think it's Max just running a little bit wide in turn 2, isn't it, and breaching the
Ah,
track limit line there. If he gets 3 of those, he'll get a warning, and 4 of them, and he'll get a 5-second penalty. So now he's going to have to very much keep it on the racetrack.
Stroll pits, which will be music to the ears of Carlos Sainz.
Race
who's
control.
in the points, but has yet to pit. Ollie
So
Behrman back up into
Verstappen's time has been deleted at turn 2, lap 38.
Well, go to Austin, the next race out. With a 22
yeah, so pretty much around lap 38, lap 39.
And Max Verstappen.
Yeah, lap 37.
On the 2 McLaren drivers.
And lap 38 times were both deleted, which is
this is looking
absolutely
for them,
terrible.
With one driver currently on the podium, that man there, Lando Norris.
6.3 covers the top 3 now. It's really closing in.
That'd be a second handbrake, please help.
Okay, let's have B-Bal 6, please, and torque 9.
So brake balance 6.
Yeah, and then that's an engine setting, but it'll be engine braking. So
pretty much, Verstappen's car doesn't feel as optimal as it could be. Basically, that makes so that gap will continue to decrease between Verstappen and Norris. If Verstappen couldn't fix it, he couldn't fix his car in time.
Going to be all over the back of Max Verstappen. He's got a fight on his hands here, as Max, with his car and maybe with Lando on the track.
Just struggling in the dirty air already.
Understood. Verstappen is struggling in clean air, so let's put pressure on him.
Yes, he is. That's
Oh
allowing
God,
Oscar Piastri
especially
to
for
put
his
in
car,
faster lap
because
times as well to
his
close
car
that
is
gap
not
down, that
optimized
has been
for the
caused in
Singapore
part by the slow
track.
pit stop.
So
And to be
if
putting out
Norris
somebody who
continues
drives
to
these cars
put
on the
pressure
simulator,
onto Verstappen,
how I
he
explained
may
what they've got to do to
Verstappen
help
may actually lose the
Max,
position.
But the problem with that is you lose a bit of regen for your battery regeneration. So there's a little price to pay for getting rid of.
There's a nice gap between both of them.
Braking.
Lap 41 of 62 on board with Lando Norris, struggling in the dirty air.
My goodness,
Okay, let's see.
Gear downshifts really early. It won't let you pull a downshift. You're going to over rev the engine, by the way. So
Fascinating watching on board. He'd dearly love to have a bit of DRS down this straight to try and close in on Max Verstappen. He hasn't got it yet. He needs to get another 0.6 of a second.
now here's a big deal. George Russell is struggling now. He's radioing in. I'm struggling to overlap Stroll and get close to him because of the dirty air.
Okay.
But ahead of Lance Stroll is half the rest of the field.
Yeah.
So the leaders are now going to start encountering back markers. Now,
okay, so now Russell has pretty much made such a large gap. They managed to catch up to Lance Stroll himself. Blue flags are going to be flying about right now.
And when they're within 1.2 seconds.
Yep, so blue flags are in fact flying for Stroll to let
you know, that close to these drivers. So it's now
go
they're
to
going
let
to have to be
Russell
really good with the blue flags
pass.
there to let the leaders make their way through.
And now, right, this just turns to a whole big fucking mess. While the track temperature is a solid 34 degrees, while the air temperature is solid 29 Celsius.
Very wide on the way in. And then
so
just,
now it's going to be a huge mess, since the leaders are mixing up in last place positions.
It is, it's a 37.0. He lost 9/10 of a second.
With back is over, the Stroll has pretty much is one lap behind to the leader.
Wide, coming out of it, lost a lot of time. First blue flag has been waved for Lance Stroll.
And if you go past 3 of those, and he's now letting Russell through, go past 3 of those, you'll get a penalty. You've got to get out of the way at the first opportunity.
Yeah, but Martin, why do we need these blue flags? Doesn't it make things way more interesting if the back markers don't have to jump out the way like scared rabbits?
Yeah.
You know, when you were racing around Spa last week, did you respect the blue flags? Were any blue flags being waved for you?
I have my eyes closed most of the time, to be honest.
Okay.
Well done, though. Top stint you had.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Russell
it.
has
Here
overtaken.
we go. This is the replay then of Lando getting deep in and then having to rescue it on the exit.
Yeah, you see, it's like last year. These little
That's a beautiful content I was in between Lando Norris's car and the wall.
Didn't cost him last year at all. He went
well,
on to
we
win,
have
of course,
Norris and
from pole.
Piastri
It's
just
not costing
catching
him
up.
this year in terms of he's on
But
course
now,
to finish higher than he
right,
started.
Verstappen, Norris
Teammate
and
Oscar
Piastri have
Piastri
to not
on course
only
to finish a
overtake
place lower,
Stroll,
than he
but
started.
also overtake
And Davis
Russell,
reminding me that,
because Russell has made such a gap, and the leaders have made such a gap with the rest of the cars, to the point that now they're at the back, now they're actually at the back of the pack, basically lapping the cars at the back.
Alonso is breathing it in currently with Alex Albon ahead of him. But not breathing it in for long, although a big lock-up from Albon as he tries to defend
big
that.
lock-up, and Carlos Sainz has in fact got off the track.
Through. They're all trying, aren't they? Desperately hard to keep.
So it seems if it's Alonso and Alex Albon. Alex Albon has in fact got off the track, while Alonso I think braked up. I don't know.
Early in the morning to outmaneuver Fernando in those sort of situations.
Here's a battle. You've got two
There's a nice
Saubers, an Alpine and a Haas. Hulkenberg ahead of
something just flew off of one of the cars. Something just flew off of one of the cars itself. I think it's for the King Sauber cars, or it could be the Alpine cars. I don't know. Something fell off of one of the cars. But there is a battle so far between the. Okay, Alex Albon is in fact pitting.
as Max Verstappen gets on the radio and complains once again about the balance of his car.
The balance of the car is completely out according to Verstappen.
Quicker than Russell, who's now really getting into the traffic, though. Russell's coming up behind that massive.
So now Albert's time is deleted because he went out of track limits.
Out of his teeth, apart of he doesn't have any, does he? I wouldn't imagine. Alex Albon.
There's more smoke there on the track than on stage at an Iron Maiden Encore. This is Yuki Tsunoda behind Colapinto.
Oh, Yuki Tsunoda trying to overtake Colapinto. Oh, now he had to just give up that, or he's going to get rammed against the fucking wall. Colapinto just, on the outside, letting Yuki pass, I believe.
Out there, isn't it?
Well, we have the kick Saubers. There's some beautiful gas coming out of Franco Colapinto's car.
Off there. Did he actually leave
they used that nice defense by Colapinto to defend against the kick Sauber cars.
The Sauber. And I'm not surprised something got clipped off a car there. They were that close, all of them, for so many corners.
They're so close, and pretty much everyone is mixed up together. To your point, Albert, Stroll and Ocon are pretty much have a lap gap against Russell, and potentially towards the whole leaders themselves.
Oscar, we now think we should take the safety car for a soft. Just let me know if you strongly disagree. Oscar, we now think we should take the safety car for a soft. Just let me know if you strongly disagree. Copy that, he's got it.
He's not happy, is he?
Interestingly, Verstappen is nowhere near catching and passing Stroll yet. So Max is,
pissed off,
George is sort of already steaming into that next pack.
Yeah, he's got past Ocon, so first of that pack has been lapped.
Okay, yellow flag has been initialized. Yellow flag has in fact been initialized.
That was throw the car straight into the corner and see what happens.
And that is the effect of the turbulent air of a car in front. When
now it's just been removed. So I don't know what caused the yellow flag to be up, but yellow flag has in fact been up.
The car around the corner.
And that incident between Hülkenberg and Colapinto has been noted. And that lap from Lando Norris that we caught the tail end of was half a second quicker than Max Verstappen.
Oh, there is a lot of people between.
Teammate Lando Norris and
it's an absolute mess, as Piastri and Norris has to pretty much pass. What the kick Sauber cars. Hülkenberg has pretty much spun out about turn 7.
One less car now for George Russell to try and lap.
The mix of that Hülkenberg is at 20th position, joining the gang of being a lap gap against George Russell.
The right way, but it sounds ridiculous, but it's still
what happened?
Yeah, down under him in many ways. We're on board now with Hülkenberg as he sends it under brake. Oh, did he hit the wall?
No, he left the rear axle on downshift.
So he managed to somehow fuck it up.
To anti-stall, which was good.
Yeah, heavy braking and then just lost some aero. I'd imagine he had to suddenly brake a bit harder as well. And it's nice and neatly down the runoff area.
Right, Ant, back to you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Rudely interrupted by Hülkenberg's spin. I'm glad he's all right. Yeah, so the drivers are being told, and this might be it.
Blue flags, get out of the way.
Damn.
So on top of the blue
so
flag,
for the kick Sauber car, it's been like absolutely obliterated because
late into the race. Look at the
that turn has been insane. Like he actually just spun out. So I don't know what caused Hülkenberg just to spin out as bad as he should. It could have been the brakes. It could have been anything. It could have been the steering. Who knows? That spin out, it could have been caused in like a realistic situation, but someone potentially ramming. But there was nobody behind him when he had to spun out.
2 seconds now. Norris behind Verstappen.
But now Hülkenberg is gonna.
What tends to happen though, is you come up to lap back markers,
the car,
they then become more aware of the leaders coming through. So often you're having to plow a bit of a furrow
catch up
as
now.
the leader, despite the blue flags. But Russell has still got a couple of back markers between him and Verstappen, and he's hoping to make that 3 or 4 anytime soon.
Yeah, there's George Russell.
We don't know the tyres that
Hülkenberg
is in fact using.
Norris is now less than a second behind Max Verstappen. So is Verstappen struggling with downshift issues, we believe. or is it the offset on the tyres that are starting to come into play
But
at these latter stages of the
could believe
race?
that
Either way, he is struggling there, and the back markers
spell out
aren't
could be
helping
caused
either.
by downshifting. Who
right now,
knows?
because we noticed with Stroll
Now,
that
basically, Verstappen is feeling the pressure from Lando Norris.
If for Lando to come through as well.
Verstappen could hold on for a little bit more, as there will be 20 laps, I believe, until the end of the race.
But Max on the radio, I'm struggling a lot now, so that makes me think it isn't just the back markers. There's all sorts of struggles going on for Max Verstappen.
It'll be extremely impressive if Verstappen stays in the same position as he has, as that
extra 20 kilometers an hour by the end of that DRS
if Verstappen stays in the same
and Max's front left
position, it'll be extremely impressive because his car's been working against him, the pace has been working against him, basically the whole race himself been working against him, but somehow he has to keep up second position. It'd be quite impressive for him just to stay in second. It'd be even more impressive if he managed to somehow overtake Russell and defend the position from there.
For the championship, because if Norris can move into second place, he's going to be 6 points better off in this race than his teammate, and that then does start to make a bit of a difference in the mindset of the championship leader.
Yeah, it's a free pit stop for Lewis Hamilton because he's got a 50-second gap behind him, so why not?
There's an interesting mix between them all
lap anymore, which I think is a great shame personally. And that came about because of this race with Daniel Ricciardo, didn't it? A couple of years back.
Yeah, Daniel, his last race in Formula One, getting the fastest lap at the final lap and pinching
now there is a lot more people who are joining the gang of being lapped ahead. There's Hulkenberg, Albon, Stroll, Ocon, Gasly, Bortoletto, Colin Pinto, and that's it. And I believe
and has he got
Tsunoda is in fact going to join that also. There were no Hulkenberg's tyres, that is a solid soft tyre, just so he can last through the whole race and hopefully catch up and overtake Albon and Stroll.
And there's another chance at the end of this, but Max has now got DRS as he's trying to lap the back markers, and that's kind of helping him in his fight against Lando Norris.
It seems as if like all the top teams so far are pretty much people who've been in the race for decades. And while all people in the last has pretty much just joined F1.
Yeah. He got stuck behind Gasly for a lot longer than Lando
now
Norris
it
did.
is complicated because we don't know who's the blue flag is for, because everyone is getting themselves a blue flag because the race is now 100% mixed up between the leaders and people who are in the backlog.
That Verstappen and Norris are having to plough their way through.
Russell will catch another group
halfway
though,
through,
also Sainz, Behrman and
yeah,
Hadjar,
there's about
Tsunoda
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blue flags for lap 48 alone.
It's a battle
then
against the cars on the track. It's a battle against the elements
Pinto,
as well. Don't forget the temperature, air temperature, 30 degrees. It's 60 degrees in the cockpit. We're on lap 48.
In 10 seconds, massive following. It's like starting the race in the middle of a pack. You have 8 cars within 10 seconds, massive following. It's like starting the race in the middle of a pack.
Word.
Race in the middle of a pack.
And he's just been warned, Oscar Piastri, you're coming up against those back markers. So Verstappen is now just
so pretty much what Piastri has to do is not only overtake the back markers, but also try to overtake the leaders also. Basically adding a lot more stress since Piastri does not know who's in fact the back markers and who's in fact the front markers.
There's a back marker between them finally. If
so
Lando
I
can just keep
believe
him under pressure, we know Max has got some control issues going on there. That's all he can do.
The pass,
you know, Max has the high ground.
That's nice.
Keeps it on the track.
Now, right, we have a nice fight between Norris and Verstappen as the gap has decreased just to under a second. Now we have a fight right now, like I just predicted. Hopefully, Norris actually wins and then overtakes Verstappen. Who knows?
Albeit only just.
Lawson has just boxed.
He gets the advantage. Max Verstappen doesn't. Then we'll see if there's a chance.
Oh man, this race is so much fun. You have no idea.
Oscar, there's a lot of opportunity. There's good points here.
tell you what, for a man who is normally so calm and so in control, he's letting everyone know that he is not a happy bunny here tonight, and he really would just like to go
Oscar
home
is in fact quite stressed about it, and I would in fact understand, because not only here the street tracks are in fact quite
the difference now, of course, is
and
Verstappen is
cover
not
a
in the
low
dirty
amount
air
of
of the
distance,
back
making so
markers,
it's
so,
easily
we'll
making
see.
so that it leads
We'll
to
see
easily
now
catch up to the back markers,
so the
making
two
so it's a
overtaking
lot more
places really
easier. On top of this, it adds a lot of stress. It's who's last, who's first, who's leader, who's that, who's this. They do not know who is who. It adds a lot of stress. Like, it's not really that clear.
There's a long shot for the World Championship. Lando's not.
50 out of 62 laps. Now we have about 12 laps remaining.
Liam Lawson pits Ted Kravitz. The only one you haven't seen in the pit lane is Carlos Sainz in this race.
It's actually going to be quite impressive that Verstappen will actually win second place in the Singapore Grand Prix.
As yet, goal hanging for a safety car, no doubt. Whether when you start from that far back, then that's what you have to do for the Williams. I'm just wondering with Piastri.
Yeah, Antonelli's track time deleted. So basically,
cool.
a lot of track times have been deleted right now. On top of this, a lot of blue flags are waved. Pretty much a lot of chaos is happening on the track in the technical side, as our blue flags are flying all over the place for Colapinto and many other cars. On top of this, we have times also been deleted from many other cars throughout the whole race.
Which it looks like at the moment McLaren are headed for.
This is the most chaotic way in order to...
Yeah, I think the ground rules changed this evening, didn't they, for the rest of the season between the two McLaren drivers. It looks like gloves off to me now.
Okay.
Yeah, well, once the Constructors' Championship is done, I did suggest to Lando that the gloves are off in terms of the drivers' battle, and he said, look,
this is if it's Colapinto who's in fact
we become more free to go and
joins the one lap gag, and on top of this has in fact let Piastri slide. There is a lot of people who are getting lapped by the leader of George Russell.
Currently down in 7th place on those soft tyres, fastest man on the track, 1:34.3 on the last lap. I wonder, can he get Kimi Antonelli before the end of the race?
He should catch Antonelli and Leclerc at the end of the race, Lewis Hamilton. So he had that free stop. If he can keep that kind of pace up, yes, he'll be there, won't he?
Don't worry, Hamilton and Leclerc are seventh and fifth,
That'll
which is
please
actually
Charles
quite
Leclerc for
good.
second race in a row. Lewis Hamilton
Antonelli in the middle, and hopefully Antonelli can actually in fact catch up to Leclerc
late pit stop
and do an overtake.
Back to the Norris-Verstappen battle in a moment. There, coming up to the back of Yuki Tsunoda is your race
having
leader,
a nice battle
George
over here.
Russell. So you
as the gap between those of Verstappen about 0.675, so it's under a second, and now they are pretty much really close together. They're really clashing at it. We're going to see who's going to go for second and who's going to go for third.
Should be a little bit easier to get through.
This could be interesting. Lando Norris has never been closer on this particular part of the track than he is to Max Verstappen, but he just runs out of straight by the end of it. He needs a really good exit here, and then he might be able to get alongside. Don't forget, his tyres are 7 laps fresher than Verstappen's
back,
in the Red Bull. Verstappen's doing a super job with this defence. But now, those fresher tyres are going to start to really pay dividends, as Carlos Sainz, who'd been goal hanging for that safety car, has decided now he has to pit, and does so.
I believe some of these drivers are trying to hang out for a safety car, because hopefully something will in fact happen, just so that they can actually pick up the safety car and then hopefully box it. But that would not be the case, as that pretty much that would not happen, because they're going to have an extremely late pit box opportunity, and especially for the laps remaining, it's not really worth it. So now we have a lot of Carlos Sainz pretty much going to be at the back of the pack, as that he's going to not really able just to catch up, just like all the other people. It feels from down below, they don't have the opportunities to deal with rookies.
He is on for a well-deserved victory, and what a time for George Russell to get a victory while he's still waiting to sign.
Okay, now we have a nice close battle between Verstappen and in fact Norris. Hopefully to God, Norris in fact overtakes, especially for the issues Verstappen has been facing throughout the whole race. so far, with especially for the balancing and for the turning, for the handbraking, pretty much for the rest of the car itself. And pretty much after the race, Red Bull is going to investigate Verstappen's car, see what's in fact wrong, get feedback from Verstappen also about the car, and hopefully by the next Grand Prix, everything is back fixed up, and hopefully by 2026, the car itself would actually be fixed up and much more better, especially with the new regulations that are coming in around 2026. To have the cars even more sustainable than ever.
As a driver after the departure of Lewis Hamilton, and for me, he's done exactly that. Meanwhile, 10 laps to go.
10 laps to go so far.
Down Max Verstappen after the qualifying incident yesterday.
Alonso's making a huge gap against Berman. Oh my god, we're having a lot more people adding up to the gang. That is Gasly, Hulkenberg, Lawson, Ocon, Albon, Stroll, Sainz, Bortoletto, Colapinto, Snowden, Hadjar, and that's it so far. Eventually, we actually see that you may have to go way up to 5th position, that everyone's going to be lapped against George Russell, because George Russell is in a whole new dimension.
Arriving in a couple of laps on that one.
To the point that he's pretty much going to catch up to Berman and overtake him also. It's going to be... So pretty much Russell has pretty much confirmed himself to be in first, while Verstappen may actually lose the position to Norris if the car continues with the issues, and if he can continue to handle with the issues, especially with the car itself. But it's only getting closer and closer with each lap passing by. Hopefully, about lap 55, he would actually do an overtake. Who knows?
It's this exit here, I think, where Lando Norris needs to just
It's so close between these both.
Yeah, and what's Tsunoda going to do here? What is Tsunoda going to do for the team? He lets them both through.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Absolutely. Let's just have a little look again on board with Lando Norris. Oof. Well, that was a bit close, wasn't it?
I tell you what, he knows he can trust Max like that. There's very few drivers you could trust with that kind of half move, really.
Bortoletto ahead
so
is on
aware
40
of what's
lap
going on
parts.
around him, would have been looking in his mirrors, left the space, kept a straight line. No chance of any collision or any contact there.
Piastri now 3.2 seconds.
Just overtaking Leclerc
Norris
for 5th position. This is actually quite quick for Antonelli, and hopefully he would in fact continue with the overtake and eventually could catch up to Piastri, which would not be the case unfortunately since
Bortoletto ahead is on 40 lap old parts.
Since the gap.
My mediums feel like 100 lap old.
The gap between Antonelli and Piastri is about 70 seconds.
Laps old. Yeah.
So.
Oh dear, great reply. Because in all honesty, I'm not quite sure why that message was necessary in the first place, but there you go.
Let's in fact hear what last draw.
Bortoletto ahead is on 40 lap old parts.
Yeah, my mediums feel like 100 lap old.
Absolutely fucking peak coming out of Lance Stroll's mouth.
I wonder if Ferrari will be asking Charles Leclerc to let his teammate through to try and get Antonelli, and I wonder after Baku what Charles Leclerc's answer would be.
Yeah.
So far, Antonelli has a gap between Piastri of 70 seconds, which would not be a possibility that Antonelli will fight with Piastri just to get 4th position.
Ancient tyres.
But however, we may actually see a fight between Norris and Verstappen all the way up to the end of the race, as they have a 1 second gap between each other. But however, that's decreasing with every single lap and increasing with every single lap. So basically, there is an increase and decrease, but no about one.
He lost 4 seconds to Hamilton, who's catching him. And there you go. They reckon it'll be within a lap.
Interval of 1.056. Laptop 0.089, and these are all the dominant areas for Verstappen. About the turns, well, the dominant areas for Norris, especially for the straight areas. And that's towards the problems. It probably
get a run at Antonelli.
If you were Max Verstappen,
makes it even more obvious that
about 0.8 of a second behind you. Keep him in
okay, now
DRS,
we have this gap decreasing.
It means it makes it more difficult for his teammate to overtake him, and therefore it kind of protects you a bit because you've held Lando off for so long anyway.
He might do, because he might think that helps him catch Piastri a little bit more. We saw Carlos Sainz pull that trick, didn't we, by keeping Norris in his...
This confirmed situation is clear on Max and Norris. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and what is that situation? You'll get a blue flag, you've got to let them pass.
Yeah, you got basically the sister team. So basically, don't hold Max up and do hold Lando up. I'm going to assume that means if you get half a chance.
Ooh, they're especially going extremely fast on the track itself.
Next season as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Hamilton's doing not so bad behind.
Briefing together.
But the fight between Max and Norris is literally insane, to the point that honestly they're going faster and faster with each lap because Max tried to lose Norris.
Now he's got DRS on Charles Leclerc. That's switch.
Leclerc lets him through.
And he does let him through. That was instruction, and instruction complied with.
Isaac Hadjar's go wave the blue flag.
Get after Antonelli.
Yeah, no-brainer for Ferrari to do that. So what kind of cunning plan do Racing Bulls have for the Red Bull here, and more importantly, the McLaren?
Well, maybe Anthony Davidson knows, or maybe he's got something else for us.
So Max is trying to lose Lando Norris, make the gap increase with each time, which would not happen as that Norris is literally on to Max's tail. I would not let go until the end of the race.
Like we saw Yuki do. I couldn't hear any instructions to intentionally hold up Norris, just for the record, and here we go.
And he does that.
Fair play.
Isn't that great? Look at that. Salesforce driver
Let's do
of the
that
day.
vote.
George Russell 16%, Fernando Alonso 15%, Max Verstappen 13%. And I'm not surprised, because all three have had a terrific race.
It's been some great driving out there.
So personally,
Fernando
it
had
was
himself about 100%, didn't he, after that big overtake? But yeah, and he's back up into the points despite a 9-second pit stop. Is Fernando Alonso.
Sort of race he really enjoys. 6 laps to go, and Lando maybe was just recharging his battery a little bit, and that's why he dropped off behind Verstappen to then get that battery charged up to go for a full-scale assault in the last 6 laps. But he's certainly got back in the DRS range, and he's got a lot closer on these.
So the voting page is not working.
Max has certainly certainly helped made George Russell's evening more comfortable, hasn't he? Because he's
so pretty much these recent laps have been consisted of blue flags, race control, blue flags, race control, telling people to slow down and let the car behind them pass. Pretty much, it's absolutely chaotic as pretty much the leaders has catched up to the backloggers, making it so like that pretty much now
1910
there's a lot more people now who's joining the one lap gang. That is Gasly, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Bortoletto, Lawson, Albon, Stroll, Colapinto, Sainz, Tsunoda, and Hadjar.
Just looking here, 2.1 seconds the gap now. Antonelli to Hamilton, half a second. Hamilton fastest on that.
So Whitwich is all the way up to 10.
Keep you abreast of all the other battles that are going on. Albon on Stroll, a little bit further down the field. And of course this one, Verstappen
literally not even letting go of Max Verstappen's tail, literally grabbing onto it or holding on too much as he can. The gap is in fact increasing, it looks like, but trust me, that will not happen.
Down the straight again, picks up a tenth of a second, but only a tenth of a second. And he just needs to find a touch of magic from somewhere if he can break the spell that Verstappen's got on this second place.
Yeah, unless he can make.
But it'd be quite surprising if Max Verstappen stays on to second all the way up to now.
Piastri's advance has just slowed a little now on the previous lap, and he can't quite get anywhere near. He had that one run, didn't he, down the outside of a braking zone, and that was about it.
I think I pose that question: is it advantageous for Verstappen to keep Norris in DRS? And I think the answer is yes, and that it is stopping Piastri's advance as well.
Yeah,
because he's dragging that McLaren towards him, but you know, like a good boxer, just jabbing away and keeping him still at arm's
literally
length.
like
Ted, let's head down to
Norris is ever so slowly chipping away at the gap
so if we
between
know that Max has got all these problems with downshifts and handbrake on the rear, then Oscar will know
himself,
as well. He'll be passing that on.
But the gap between Lando Norris and Piastri is about 2.761.
At the end of the race.
But they actually
Russell's car. I've asked Mercedes how's it going. They say
so
he is
it'd be
managing
quite
his
unfortunate
pace
just to see
and,
that Oscar Piastri will not be
the same lap
on the podium,
is the
as that Verstappen does not want to in fact let go of second place.
He needed it, but he doesn't at the moment.
With 6 Grand Prix remaining, McLaren on course for back-to-back Constructors' Championships. It'll be the first time since that run of 4 championships, 1998 to 1991. Whatever the debrief will consist of when it comes to the drivers racing against each other, Andrea Stella will start with a congratulations to everyone for another job well done for a Constructors' Championship that has looked about as likely to be won with this many races remaining since what, the Bahrain test?
Yeah.
But to be honest, it's not a surprise that Max Verstappen will stay on pole position, as that Max Verstappen has been known to be one of, if not the most dominant drivers in F1, as that since he joined, he picked up a shit ton of trophies, and no matter how shit or how good the car is, we all know that Max Verstappen will still pick up at least a podium, since no matter what situation he's in, he knows how to drive the F1 car, he knows how to drive cars. He's even proved when he started to drive a GT car in a multi-class car race, and yet still won that. So pretty much Max Verstappen, even though Max Verstappen has a shit car, he has absolutely impeccable driving.
To go and win races, because we want to win a Drivers' Championship, and we've seen here Red Bull and Mercedes with pace, extra pace over the McLarens, stopping that McLaren win, which, you know, maybe 6-7 races ago might have looked a bit more of a formality. Hamilton within half a second of Antonelli, Martin.
Yep, that's what I was just going to say. He is. And in his slipstream with those soft tyres. So we'll see what Lewis Hamilton can do. And he's still behind him as they head into turn 16.
And Piastri now 2.5 seconds, give or take, behind Lando Norris. So that gap's still coming down. Is he going to run out of time, though? Is Lando Norris a little bit closer to Max Verstappen? Probably not.
Lewis Hamilton's been off the track in turn 16 and lost a lot of time to Kimi Antonelli, down 2.5 seconds behind. So a lot of that advantage just ebbed away.
That might just have cost Lewis a chance for a top 5 finish here in Singapore. He might be settling for a 6th place, which is, of course, where he finished last year.
Might well have been a bit of a side-by-side overtake, mind it.
Yeah.
We'll get a replay, no doubt. No, it wasn't. Apparently, it's just Lewis. I've lost my brakes.
Hamilton just lost his brakes for some reason. Just lost his brakes somehow.
Well, that happens at the end of this race. We've seen it before. Mark Webber, I think, famously. Jenson Button was saying, you know, you do lose your brakes a bit here. Let's have a little look here. This is on board with Kimi Antonelli.
Ooh, Kimi Antonelli just overtaken Hamilton.
On lap 54.
So Hamilton had overtaken him, hadn't he? And then he's re-overtaken him.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
Damn, so pretty much how Antonelli was staying in 5th position, was actually quite good. He started off about 17th, I believe, so on the low grid. And now we're at the end of the Singapore Grand Prix, he's all the way up to 5th position, which is absolutely insane. It shows the potential of Kimi Antonelli and potentially being the new Max Verstappen since his young age, on top of this, his impeccable performance in F1. Shows that he has a bright future, not with F1, but also shows that with the next generation F1 drivers, when they come in, that Antonelli would in fact be the most dominant in the next generation stage, since he is 19 years old and has a long prosperous career within F1.
So 8.5 seconds covers the top 4 after all the dramas.
But we don't really see a potential opportunity for Norris just to overtake Verstappen
when they get out of there.
or Piastri ever going to catch up towards Norris.
he's handled them beautifully.
That replay we saw, that was Kimi Antonelli getting past Charles Leclerc.
Oh, was it?
That was lap 54. And I'm just trying to work out what was going on there, but that is the latest of late replays. To be honest, it wasn't Lewis Hamilton.
Hamilton's right back now. He's fallen back behind Leclerc
Yeah,
again.
they've done the swap because Hamilton's brakes have gone. He can get to the end because Alonso's 43 seconds behind.
So
him.
Hamilton has pretty much lost the
they swapped it around.
pace now and is absolutely back in the back marker.
Past Charles Leclerc, and then we saw that puff of brake dust, didn't we?
Yeah.
And this is where I think his brakes have completely gone. Yeah, you can see, look, the sparks.
Yeah, there's the sparks coming out of Lewis Hamilton's brakes. It doesn't really look that good, especially for Hamilton, but now he just lost all of his pace, and now he can't really catch up to Leclerc whatsoever. And yeah, Hamilton's time, if Ferrari doesn't look that well, a potential retirement may have to happen in 2026 if he doesn't potentially get some wins under his belt, and mostly encourage him just to carry on in F1. Instead, well, you may actually consider retiring, just like Alonso, if they both don't get any wins.
Norris might just have to settle for third place behind Verstappen, and Verstappen might have to settle for second place after winning back-to-back races in September.
It's still close to this day. It's still close.
He fully deserves, and will be celebrating long into the Singapore night.
It's literally the checkered flag right now, and we have Russell going in towards first. Then we have Verstappen still in second, while we have Norris in third, Piastri in fourth.
Led every lap, did he? Because the McLarens took over after he'd pitted. But
to be honest though, McLaren's dominance, especially in third and fourth position, will still earn them a lot of fucking points. Even if Piastri doesn't get podium, Piastri will still in fact get
5 years of the Singapore Grand Prix. Make that now 6 different winners in the last 6 runnings of the Singapore Grand Prix. For the first time ever here, he'll stand on the podium on the top step. George Russell wins the Singapore Grand Prix.
George Russell wins the
Singapore
Grand Prix.
Well,
Max Verstappen is second, Lawson is in third, Piastri is in fourth.
Through and past his teammate Oscar Piastri on the first lap. McLaren finished third and fourth, and McLaren are Constructors' champions in 2025.
Hell yeah! Mercedes are in fact Constructor champions for 2025. This has been an epic year for McLaren, for my beautiful team, for Norris, for Piastri, and for the team itself. This has been amazing for pretty much the race and for the whole year.
Lewis Hamilton
2 years ago. Well done. What a weekend. Well done.
Oh yeah. Come on. Come on.
George, that was mega today. Driver-car combination, perfect.
Thanks, Toto. Made up for 2 years ago.
Well done, George. You were owed that for tonight. You really were. Charles Leclerc has managed to finish this race. Hamilton is trying to hold off Fernando Alonso. We're watching McLaren celebrating. We should be watching the track here because Fernando Alonso, who was 43 seconds behind Hamilton, crosses the line 0.4 of a second behind Hamilton.
This is absolutely insane.
To the finish.
Thanks.
What a mate. First P3. What a mate. First P3. And we are a chip away at the championship. And we did. We won. 2 years running. What a mate.
2 years running, 2024 and 2025 Constructor Championship. Hopefully they can in fact stay up with the same performance within 2026 and win the Constructor Championship in then.
Congratulations, everyone.
This is absolutely beautiful for Norris and Piastri, and thanks to the car's performance, they will hopefully continue to catch up with the pace, and hopefully in 2026 we may actually see them.
Yeah,
well,
congratulations indeed at the circuit, back at the factory. There's so many people involved in. The drivers are the final link in the chain, but they are only a link in the chain. The chain breaks anywhere else, it's no good to you at all.
It is the first Mercedes win in Singapore since 2018. It is
and this is the first ever
Mercedes Norris, a podium that secures the team that he has been with for so many years.
Nice, and
back-to-back constructors
the absolute dominance
Well done to them.
This is
so
lovely. That's everything, and this has been one beautiful fucking race. Because just won Constructors' Championship. Russell has won first, Verstappen in second, Lewis in third, Piastri in fourth, fifth is Antonelli, sixth is Leclerc, seventh is Hamilton, eighth is Alonso, ninth is Carlos Sainz, 10 is
about the
11 is Hajar, 12 is Yuki Tsunoda, 13th is Dan Stroll, 14th is Alex Albon, 15th is Liam Lawson, 16th is Colin Pinto, 17th is Bortoletto, 18th is Ocon, 19th is Gasly, 10th is Hulken. But mostly
for exceeding track limits, and it might just be that after being shown a black and white flag, and he was, because his brakes were basically going, he's gone over the line a bit too often, and he'll get a 5-second penalty here, which could cost him 7th place.
Yeah, I think he will do, because he's the last 4-5 mentions on that can make that 6 for track limits, because he ran out of brakes. So yes, I think you could well be right there, sadly, for Lewis Hamilton. There could be a 5-second penalty.
There's one beautiful car right there, and that's
lap was 1 minute 47.7.
mostly going to be it for this live stream for today. It's been not very beautiful for everyone entering, but it's been very beautiful for the drivers, for the teams, and especially for the fans. We will see you next year, or pretty much at the next Grand Prix. That would potentially happen at God knows when.
Wasn't particularly well.
So let's check out the next Grand Prix time.
And springs from the cockpit,
F1.
feeling full of the joys of it here in Singapore tonight.
The next one will be the 19th of October. So we will see you then. But for now, this will be goodbye. So hopefully you'll be enjoying your day, and hopefully it's a little more exciting. And it's been